I feel good.
Oh, this is good. Well, some of these guys today are hoping they get called up to the big leagues. How's that for a little transition?
I like that. That's professional.
See how I did that?
That's professional. Peggy the professional.
See?
Maybe we'll workshop it.
We're getting there. Some of these guys are going to be looking for a spot on that 53-man roster. Tuesday, 3 o'clock is when the roster gets cut down from 90 to 53. We are going to break down the job auditions from today's third and final preseason game. And quarterback 2 is who? Yep, got that story. Bubble players and your phone calls at 312-332-3776. You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Turn up your weekend plans at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Dance the night away every Friday and Saturday night at the Hard Rock Cafe stage, or grab a cocktail while you listen to local beats at the Council Oak stage. Get closer to your favorite artist than ever before in our state-of-the-art Hard Rock Live, where we host some of the biggest artists in the industry. Live your life at max volume. Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, just off exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Touchdown Chicago. Bill Jacobs Auto Group is all about commitment to excellence. As a third-generation family-run business, we tackle every day with passion and pride, just like our beloved team. Experience the Bill Jacobs way. Top-notch service is the name of the game. With a winning lineup of new and used vehicles, fair and upfront pricing, we're the dealership that scores big. Visit Bill Jacobs Auto Group today and drive home a winner. Bill Jacobs. The cars bring you in, and the experience brings you back.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays. Lists on Mondays. Going deep dish. Going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Peoria, Illinois, that wildly underrated peach of a place downstate, wants you to take its jobs. Okay, so their careers, really. High-paying ones at world-class companies. And there are hundreds of them just waiting for someone with as much talent as you to say, bleep it, I'm moving to Peoria. But that overabundance of opportunity isn't the only thing Peoria has going for it. To explore all the perks and to land your dream career, head to choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Powered Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards Program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join, and game on!
This year, Fuel Rewards offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, the trip's a big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4million or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4million.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylist at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clip, it's going to be great. Download our app today.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality, value, and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry. Promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training, Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Welcome to the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. Brought to you by Great Clips. It's going to be great. By Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, and by Miller Lite. And now, the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
Here are your hosts, Peggy Kusinski and John Yurkovich.
Welcome back into the postgame show. It's Peggy Kusinski along with Pat the designer sitting in. We will go down to Jason in the locker room in just a minute. But first, let's head down to Soldier Field where JJ and Tom Thayer are standing by with the head coach, Matt Eberflus.
All right. Thank you very much, Peggy and Pat. Jeff and Tom here wrapping up the preseason. Lost today to the Buffalo Bills, but a lot of things to break down with the head coach. Matt, first of all, your overall general view of what you saw today.
No, I thought the whole week was really good, in terms of us getting game preparation, getting our routine down, a couple weeks prior to the start of the regular season. And the coaches did a really nice job with their meetings and preparing those and getting the guys ready. There's a lot of things that we had in the game plan that we didn't run today that we typically would. And so we wanted to keep the volume the same. And then we basically had, the game. The game was a different menu, relative to what we wanted to show, what we wanted to do. So the guys handled that volume really well, and I was excited about that. But in terms of the game, we came back a little bit on offense. We had started out with 2 3 and outs, and we came back with a nice drive and capped it off with a good score there. And defensively, we did some good things, and I thought that overall, I liked the way the front liners performed. We were a little shorthanded today at the offensive line, but I thought those guys that came in there, played well and protected well and did some nice things.
Explain the thinking though on that drive that Bagent finished off for Justin after. Yeah.
That's just simple play count.
Okay.
We had him capped right there, and so it was his time to come out, and we converted there, and then we got Tyson in there. So.
Hey, Matt, you often use the phrase assignment and alignment. Is that something that you can recognize from the sideline, or is it something that you have to see in your film review?
No, you can recognize it. Yeah, you get used to it after all these years watching the game from the sideline. You can see a lot of things, and you know where the point of attack is and where guys are on and when they're off, and you can definitely see it. And you can coach off of it too. Series to series, and all that. So it's pretty easy to see.
One thing I did like is the enthusiasm that was still in the stadium at the end of the game, both by the fans and your players.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important approach to have, where there is a carryover effect where they stay in the game, they're mentally in the game, they're physically in the game, and then you sit there fighting to the end.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And, Chicago Bears fans have always been great. They travel well, and, and we're trying to create, I know Kevin and Ryan and all the people, with the Bears are trying to create an environment, which you could see that the different things we're doing at the stadium to get the fans involved. And, they spend a lot of time and attention on that in the offseason, and you can certainly feel that, the fans having fun, and we, trying to put a good product on the field so they can be proud of that.
When you think of, going ahead with the Chicago Bears, do you have to get involved and pay attention to the cuts, or are you on the Green Bay already when trying to figure out the game plan in what your guys' system approach is going to be?
No, that's great. That's a great question, and we were all involved. Just like when the coaches and scouts, are hand in hand and making these decisions, because it affects everybody. So we will have a meeting with the offensive staff and the defensive staff and special teams, and then we'll sit down with the coordinators, Ryan, myself, Ian, and we'll sit down with the coordinators and make these tough decisions that we have to make. So there's a lot of them that we have to make, and they're never easy. And I just want to thank all the players for having a great, off season and a great training camp. And those guys worked their tails off, and I couldn't be more proud of those guys.
So hopefully they made some decisions harder for you today.
Yes, they did. They sure did.
Let's talk about some of the rookies. Number one, Tyler Scott in the return game had himself a nice long 56-yard return. Obviously, part of it is the blocking in front of him too, but an average of 32 on his kick returns today. Made his clean grabs on the punts. A nice job for him. How does it impact?
Yeah, I mean, he was a little bit banged up last week when we were in Indianapolis, and he came back strong and had a nice week of practice, and we were certainly excited about him in the return game and also being a viable weapon for us as a receiver. But he put his best foot forward today, and I like to see that.
All right. Now, this was the tug-of-war discussion we had up here just about a young corner like Tyreek Stevenson. Whatever I've heard about him, everybody says, hey, listen, if he gets beat or if something happens, he does not care. He gets back up on his horse and he plays. So he gets the interception after 2 flags. That kind of physicality and that aggressiveness obviously plays well into his style. How do you balance the two? And our team's going to test him in that regard and see if this guy, because oftentimes you find guys who draw flags early, they keep going at him until they prove they can stop.
Yeah, he's done a good job in practice, so we just got to really just coach him up on the details to each one of those plays. And when you're a young corner, you're going to be tested. That's just part of the game. That's part of the league. They come right at you all the time, and he knows that. And he's going to have some ups and downs. Just like Kyler Gordon had, just like all the other corners when they first start playing. And he's just going to have to learn from his experiences and get better every single performance, because he's going to have a bucket full of things every single game that he's going to learn from to be able to improve week to week.
All right, how about Tyson Bagent?
Yeah, Tyson did a really nice job, came in there. We thought he orchestrated the offense really nice, had good command, did a really good job with, getting the plays off, in terms of the motions and the shifts and, being very communicative to the offense in the huddle. And he had true command of that, and that was good, and he operated the offense well.
And lastly, I love watching Robert Burns enjoy the fruits of his labor with the touchdown.
Yeah.
And then the hurl of the pile. A lot of enthusiasm, and I just kind of like the way he operates and plays the game. What's your perspective?
Yeah, just the love of the game. He has so much love for the game and that passion, and you can see that in practice and the way he prepares, and also you all saw it today in the game. So I'm glad he got a chance to show that.
All right, well, have fun breaking it all down, and then I know it's going to be an interesting week up at Halisal. It's I don't even know how to put it. There's an uncomfortableness probably with the guys wondering what's next, and then everybody finds out, and you move forward and put together the team that will start week 1 against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, there's always 2 days that aren't that great in this profession. It's the cut down day, and then the last day you have with the guys. If it's deep into the playoffs or after the Super Bowl or whatever it might be, because your team's always going to be different the next year. So those are the 2 days that aren't that great.
Matt, good luck with everything. Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, Matt.
Matt Eberflus, Bears, and the rest of the NFL. Peggy and Pat, the cut to 53 starts on Tuesday.
It's going to be a big day. Thank you, JJ. We appreciate it. This is the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. At Great Clips, their online check-in app saves you time on haircuts. With just a few taps, you can get in and out with a fresh haircut. Great Clips is going to be great. Also, join the greatest salon team. Visit jobs.greatclips.com. All salons are independently owned and operated. Contact your local salon for specific safety measures. You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show. Back with your phone calls. Peggy and Pat, back in a flash.
Football Fest is tomorrow. Come on out. We want to meet you and talk football like it's the only thing that matters. And let's face it, it is. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster.com or at the Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana box office. Brought to you in part by Astound Broadband, Chicagoland Hooters, and Pick Your Part, the ESPN Chicago Football Fest, Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. See you tomorrow.
Hey, Chicagoland, it's Sylvie. The newest Steinhoffel's Furniture and Mattress Superstore is opening soon. Join them on August 31st as they open their 4th Illinois store on the corner of Harlem and Lawrence and Harwood Heights. Since 1934, Steinhoffel's has been helping families make the home of their dreams. Steinhoffel's has something for every style and every budget. To find out more and shop online, visit steinhoffels.com. Relax, it's Steinhoffels.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. And like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-million or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-million.
If you drove a 2023 Nissan Rogue, not driving it, going out for beer with the family could take you to the great outdoors. But in a basic SUV, family outings might be a little predictable. Oh, welcome to Basic Town Burgers. So why settle for ordinary when you could satisfy your taste for adventure? The Nissan Rogue, far from basic.
Optional feature shown. Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide an traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey, football fans of Chicago. Football season means it's time to start thinking about the roof on your business. Is it time to winterize? Make the right call. A game plan that includes the highly trained craftsmen and craftswomen of Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 to get the job done right. Find professionally trained roofing and waterproofing contractors who are dedicated to providing quality, value, and service. Go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org. For business roofing and waterproofing, it's ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online checking and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
This is a Bears town. A town where names like Butkus, Sayers, and Peyton need no first name. A place where Hallis, Ditka, and Lubby led us to that final game of the season. A city where we want our coach to know the importance of beating the Packers. This is a Bears town, and we are the new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago, the Chicago Bears' new home. ESPN Chicago.
ESPN Chicago.
Welcome back in to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. I'm Peggy Kusinski alongside Pat, the designer. The Bears lose their preseason finale 24-21 to the Buffalo Bears, to the Buffalo Bills. And now we have 2 weeks to talk about the Green Bay Packers in week 1 of the season.
Oh, yeah. Listen, that's really what it all comes down to at the end of the day. Being prepared for that week 1 game, being excited about that week 1 game, and the Chicago Bears, Big Tom said it best, being healthy for that week 1 game. That's really what we're focusing in on as we head into, these next 16 days, I believe.
Pat, let's talk a little bit about what Coach Eberflus just said to Jeff Joniak in the postgame show here. Number one, everyone was wondering why Justin Fields was pulled after that third down conversion. They went to the 2-minute break. They came back. Justin was out there, converted on third down, and then left the game. And in comes Bagent.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, what happened? The play before, Doug Kramer got hurt, and he was starting at center today. He left, and Dieter Iselin came in, and there was a big hole on the right side between Iselin and Tyreek Carter, and Justin took a hit. Could that have been the reason why they pulled him? They didn't want him to get hurt? And Coach said no. It was snaps. He reached his limit. They had a preset number of snaps, and it was 13.
Listen, it's a very coincidental time that play happened at that moment. I do like the screen pass that they were trying to run there. But when Ed Oliver comes through the middle and hits your quarterback, you pull your quarterback, especially in a preseason game that means absolutely nothing. He probably could have been at 12 snaps, and they would have pulled him after that because he takes the shot. You immediately see Justin kind of reach for the left shoulder there. I instantly held my breath when I saw it, and I'm like, okay, get up. He's good. Okay, he's on the sideline laughing, dancing. We're good.
And speaking of the Bears starting quarterback, Jason McKee is standing by with Justin Fields at Soldier Field.
Yes, here with Bears quarterback Justin Fields. Justin, 20 total preseason reps. How ready do you feel for the season opener?
I feel good. I think, the team and, myself, we did a lot of hard work during training camp and, practices and stuff like that. So feel good. Glad I got to throw the ball downfield a little bit today. And, so I think, everybody as a whole, as an offense and a defense, I feel like, that we're ready to go for game one. And of course, we got a little bit more work to do to prepare and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel good to go.
In particular, the more work you have to do, and as an individual, what do you want to work on these next few weeks in terms of making sure you're prepared for the season opener?
Yeah. Of course, I'm going to use these next couple of weeks to, watch Green Bay, watch their film, see what their tendencies are, and see how we're going to attack them. And of course, just continue to improve my skills. So, throwing the ball, footwork, and stuff like that. But just continue to improve. And but the biggest thing is mentally get ready for Green Bay.
Tyson Bagent, fellow quarterback in your quarterback room, had a great preseason performance. Well, what are your thoughts on him as a player, and how has he just matured from coming here as a rookie and grow throughout the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. The minute he walked in, he's been working hard. I can tell. It's just some guys you can tell that are really invested in it. He's done that since day one. He's a hard worker, never complained, and really just always put his head down and work. So. I'm happy for him, seeing him have the success he's having on the field, and I'm excited for his future. So I mean, he's such a great guy. So you can really do nothing but just be happy for his success, and just wishing nothing but the best. But, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Zach Pickens a couple of weeks ago, and he said that the defensive line, they're real competitive in meetings. They got a little basketball hoop in which they compete at. What are some of the things that you guys do in your quarterback room? What's the vibe in the quarterback room?
Yeah, so we actually have the same thing, but we have a little fine system where it's a bunch of goofy fines throughout the week. So whoever has the most fines, we throw darts, and then whoever the top two losers in darts, they have to shoot. So we have a little basketball hoop in our meeting room too. So they have a shoot off, and so just little stuff like that. And then the QBs and Luke will have like a shooting contest or a 3-point contest every day after practice. So just little stuff like that keeps it fun in the building, and fun when you're pretty much in there all day. So it's good.
Talk about the bonds. The reality is in the NFL that cut down days coming up, and obviously everybody in that quarterback room won't be there. Talk about some of the bonds you created with each other and the ways that you pushed each other on the field.
Yeah, I think everybody just as a whole, not even in the quarterback room, just everybody as a whole. I think our team's really close. I think just the past month or two we've spent together. Everybody's gotten close. So of course it's gonna be tough, not having all the guys back in the building. When after that day does happen, but you never know. You most likely run into them at a different team, or they might get brought back. So you never know when you'll run into them again down the line. So I think it was good just to establish that relationship right now, and of course all the guys who won't be here, wishing them nothing but the best too. But
last question for you, Justin. What does a pregame routine look like? Do you have any pregame rituals that you go through before a game?
Not really. I usually just, do my kind of everyday routine, wake up, do my devotional, come over here and just look at the play call sheet, and just in terms of getting my body ready, just, making sure I feel good, feel ready to go, but nothing too crazy. I know guys have some crazy, pregame rituals, but mine's nothing too crazy.
That was Bears quarterback Justin Fields. Back to you, Peggy and Pat in the booth.
All right. Thank you, J-Mac. We appreciate it. Jason's interview with Justin Fields is brought to you by Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Enjoy over 1,700 slots and 80 table games. Live life at max volume at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Well done, J-Mac. We appreciate that as Justin Fields finishes today after 13 snaps, I should say. Was it 13 or 16 already, Pat? I'm already looking at my notes saying.
I believe 13 snaps today.
Thank you. 13 snaps today. He finished 2 of 6, 51 yards, an average of 8.5 yards per pass play. Like you said, he started throwing the ball downfield. DJ Moore caught a nice long pass. 65.3 rating for QB1 today. And today really was all about Justin Fields getting a feel for the game, getting a feel for having a game plan. They didn't run the plays that they would normally play, but they still wanted to have the same volume of plays in today's playbook.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is, right, listen, we're heading into week one now where an offensive line that has been very up and down through most of the preseason, we've lost a lot of bodies here. I think the feel part is trying to get a feel for the new offensive lineman that might be standing in front of Justin Fields. Is it going to be Doug Kramer that's going to be giving him the snap? Is it going to be Lucas Patrick? Lucas Patrick didn't see time in today's game, but you have to get that feel for guys with Cody Whitehair having that cast on his left hand now.
Yeah, well, Cody Whitehair having a cast, and Doug Kramer left the game and came back with a heavily bandaged hand as well. A lot of people wondering what his injury status was. He's a guy that many thought could be on the bubble for this roster cut down on Tuesday, and the injury for the second straight year for him in the preseason cannot be good.
No, and I think that, right, it's taking opportunity away. It's taking reps away. It's another time that he's going to, miss something that could have changed his career here. Remember, we saw Tom talking with him on the, guys from Chicago and what his expectations were for this team. So, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what that's going to end up being, how long that's going to end up being, and yet again, another body that you have to cross off the list right now that you can count on with Justin.
The starting offensive line in the final preseason game today was Braxton Jones at left tackle. Of course it was. Braxton Jones hasn't missed a game yet. Braxton Jones at left tackle. Cody Whitehair moved over, as Pat just said, to left guard, leaving Doug Kramer to start at center. The Illinois kid, though, did leave with an injury before the half. He was replaced by Dieter Iselin. And then at right guard, the start went to Tyree Carter. The second-year player was a seventh-round draft pick last year out of Southern University. And the right tackle, Larry Borum, who has been the swing tackle most of camp. So this is a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Yet to see Nate Davis play in a game for the Bears. And with 16 days before the Packers come to Soldier Field, it'll be very interesting.
I'm really waiting to see what Nate Davis is going to do. We haven't seen him at all pretty much. He's been in and out of training camp, in and out of practice. I mean, I said this on the Chicago Bears podcast. I think the episode we had Yurko on, or maybe it was Jason, one of those. They're starting to run together now, Peggy. It's a lot of episodes a day, Monday through Friday. Tune in with us, Humble Park.
There you go.
But I think realistically, right, you have to start asking the question, right, like, is there going to be that rapport built up with whoever the young guy is now standing to the right of you, with Darnell Wright, with Larry Borum, if he's the person that's in there, and he better be able to put out all pro performances in his sleep if it is something with him missing this much time.
And the other story of the game today was who came in at QB2. It was all about Tyson Bagent. He came in as the second quarterback. He got a lot of play. They were aiming for 30 snaps. I did not add up how many snaps he ended up going, but they were targeting 30 snaps for him. He looked good. He looked bad. He looked good. He looked bad. He was up and down in his second real performance that everybody was watching him. This one more against a very fierce Buffalo defense whose first unit was still in the game.
Yeah, Tyson, I mean, listen, if he completes that one pass, if Carlson catches that one pass, let's not say if he completes it. If Carlson catches that one pass, we're talking about his game completely differently, right? He ends up 7 for 14, 43 yards, only 3.1. But I think the biggest takeaway from what we saw from Tyson Bagent was he didn't do anything until that next play after the interception where you were like, okay, this will lose us the game. He's not going to be able to go out there and do this in the regular season. I thought that he was very poised. The one thing I took away from this game was his pocket presence. I mean, you saw guys going past him. He knew when to step up in the pocket, when to vacate the pocket. He's so mature as a young quarterback, rookie quarterback, seeing that in the preseason. And to be honest with you, right, it's things that we just haven't seen from P.J. Walker.
Well, and that's playing time, getting as many snaps as possible. You don't always see that with quarterbacks who are playing at the big universities because they're playing behind guys. They may get 1 or 2 years starting, and that's it. He went and played 4 years at a school that is known for passing. He knew he was going to get probably 1,000 snaps at least, right? So very smart on his part. Many thought at the Senior Bowl that this was a guy that potentially could be a late draft pick. Do the Bears risk putting him on the practice squad and him getting plucked? Or now everyone's got a lot of tape on him. If you didn't have tape on him before, now you do. And is he now your rostered QB2 and PJ Walker is gone and Nate Peterman becomes your practice squad quarterback?
I don't know if you can allow him to get to the practice squad. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that there's too much tape on him. There's too much where he looks good. Yes, he's still, what today was, and I know a lot of people are going to look at his performance and say you can't call him QB2 after 43 yards and he runs in a touchdown. But today was, I'm making my case for what the coaches are saying. I'm making my case, right? Because me and you both said they put Bagent out there first. They didn't put PJ out there. They put Bagent out there first. He was their first call off the bench. That means something. That means the coaches are looking at him and going, "Oh no, we think we believe in him more than we believe in you." The rest of the NFL sees that, and they're going to look at that and they're going to go, "If this guy gets to the practice squad, we're going to need a backup. Maybe he's not your starter, but he's somebody that you can call on, develop. Maybe he turns into something more than what you thought he was going to be there early on." You never know. Hope sells more than proven a lot of times.
Even Pat, it's not just hope. It's the Brock Purdy effect.
Yes.
Everybody is looking for the no-name quarterback that maybe there was something missing that when teams were out scouting them, and that's what everyone wants to have. Otherwise, you see all these backups who have just recycled through the league. They've been retreads throughout the league, and that's why they're still backups. Everyone's looking for that diamond in the rough.
Well, it's not just Purdy either, right? Like you think about the situation with Zappy over in New England over there, right? Like there's so many guys that we see, and it's not they could come in and play 17 perfectly, like Purdy's that they believe Purdy can, but it's that can you come in and you can give me 5, 6 games just in case, just in case.
You're listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. Let's take a break, but before we do, we'll pause 10 seconds for a station ID. This is the Bears Radio Network.
Home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago, WMVP, WSNG HD2, Chicago.
Gaming in Chicagoland, Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, where we're sure to have the action you crave. The choice is yours with a world-class selection of over 1,700 slots and 80 table games. Enjoy some of your favorite games like blackjack, roulette, craps, and baccarat. A roll of the dice or a spin of the reels, and you could be a winner. Live life at max volume at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, just off Exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Metro Plus premium gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on. Must be a Fuel Rewards. Offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks a kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays. Bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish. Going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Touchdown, Chicago. And speaking of winning teams, when it comes to car buying, it's Bill Jacobs Auto Group, proudly running the Bill Jacobs way since 1955. Just like your favorite players on the field, they're committed to excellence. Family run for 3 generations, their service experience is unbeatable. Find your perfect match from a large selection of new and used vehicles with fair upfront pricing. Visit BillJacobs.com today. At Bill Jacobs, the cars bring you in. The experience brings you back.
You've got the talent, the moxie, and the grit, but you're still buried on the bench, waiting for a chance to prove it. If that sounds familiar, it may be time to take your talents to Peoria, Illinois. They're looking to fill hundreds of high-paying positions in all industries. And there's plenty of room on the roster for candidates like you. Sound good? Check out choosegreaterpeoria.org to learn more. Do it now. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality, value, and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry, promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training. Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to chicago-roofingcontractors.org.
Hi, Jan from Toyota here.
Hi, Dan. My friends keep posting photos in their new Toyotas. Summer's almost over, and I've got FOMO.
Well, FOMO, no-mo, because Toyota's national sales event is on, and it's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer in a new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
I can't wait to post photos of myself grilling at the park with my new RAV4.
I will meet you there.
Well done, Jan.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary, and that ends September 5th.
A new era of Chicago Bears football has begun, and ESPN Chicago is your new home for the Bears.
We are back on the Bears postgame show on the Bears Radio Network. It's the Great Clips postgame show. Hey, Pat, the designer, is joining us today, filling in for Yurko, who has the day off for a personal event in his family. Something interesting happened about, I don't know, maybe the first quarter of the game.
Yeah.
As we were watching the game, and we have our list of bubble players, who's on the bubble, and Trevis Gipson was one of the guys who was listed, way down deep on the depth chart for defensive ends. And lo and behold, what did we see?
Well, I mean, basically, it ends up getting put out there that Trevis Gipson wants to trade. He don't want to be in Chicago anymore. He's requesting a trade. He's going to Ryan Poles and put that request in. I instantly looked at you and was trying to pull the management team, but of course, right, a Clutch Sports guy signed with them this offseason. Did we see this coming? I mean, it's kind of par for the course for what we know. Coach Flus actually talked about it in the post-game show, or in the post-game press conference, said that he can't comment on it yet, but that he loves what Trevis has done. He loves the kind of player that he is. He loves how hard he works. And the best part about it is as we continue to watch the game, right, Trevis is making plays.
Oh, he had a strip sack today. It was almost instantaneous. Then next thing, it was like, beep, beep, Bilbo's calling, your agent's calling, and it's out now. And then he goes and gets a strip sack.
Yeah.
I did reach out to his agent, who said that he had not seen the report and did not comment any further on Jeremy Fowler's report that Trevis Gipson had requested a trade and had been given permission to seek trade offers, which now let's break this down. So my first reaction was, why not wait until Tuesday when they cut the rosters down to 53? But then I thought, this means he knows he's going to make the 53-man roster, but he also knows he's too far down the depth chart.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't get that, right? To me, Trevis Gipson is a guy who, if you look at outside of last season, where you basically asked him to be your best pass rusher, he's been a really good rotational piece for you. I think he's been better than Dominique Robinson. I think he's been better than Rasheem Green. We've seen him continuously be able to make plays in the backfield. I don't get how far down on the depth chart he is. I get it, right? Ryan Poles drafted Dominique Robinson. He wants him to be there. He wants him to turn into this guy. But how many years are you going to give him to turn into that guy when Trevis Gipson technically is already the guy that you want him to be? So I'm very confused by that whole situation with where he is on the depth chart. But it's like you said, right? He probably feels he's going to make this team, but he's not going to have a role.
Well, according to Jeremy Fowler's report, Gipson has received permission from the Bears already to seek the trade. Gipson had 7 sacks last year. No, actually, that was in 2021.
2 years ago. Last year was a down year.
Last year, because he lost Robert Quinn.
Yep.
And after he lost Robert Quinn on the other side, he was not the recipient of getting some of those sloppy seconds, I like to say.
Yeah. Excuse me?
But they did. I know. Well, hey, welcome to a Peggy.
I love it. I'm so excited to be doing the show with Peggy.
And Gipson, they said, maybe looking to get back to a 3-4 scheme, which is also interesting. A little bit of background, and you can help us out on that as well. Trevis Gipson, his agent, Demarius Bilbo, is with Clutch Group.
Mm-hmm.
Clutch is a fairly new football group, maybe the last 3 or 4 years, I
Yeah.
think it is. They are notorious in basketball circles for what?
Oh, I mean, listen, it's the number one thing that everyone is questioned on. Anytime your player signs with Clutch, you instantly go, "Oh God, is he going to play with LeBron?" Right? Because
Because
this is Rich Paul's company, this is Rich Paul's brand, this is what he's built out, and so every time you see a guy sign with Clutch, you literally just go, "He's going to be on LeBron's team." Sometimes I think Zach LaVine is with them. I want to say Lonzo Ball was with the second Zach signed. It was just he's going with LeBron. We know he's going to the Lakers. He's from the West Coast. It all makes sense now, right? So it's a. I don't think that you can do those same things in football that they've done in basketball.
No.
But we'll see.
In basketball, you can ask for a trade with who cares how many years are
Yeah.
left on your contract. It's almost
Just signed it.
unheard of for that to happen in the NFL. You get fined
Yeah.
when you don't practice. You get fined if you do not play. These hold-ins are the latest way of demanding a trade. And the Clutch Group is known for player empowerment. They want to give you the player all the power. They want to help guys find a place and a team in which they will feel comfortable. So if this is true, according to Jeremy Fowler, that Trevis Gipson is requesting a trade and has been given permission by the Bears to seek a trade, it'll be interesting to see what they are able to pull off.
Do you do it? Like, this is the NFL, right? Like, we can't take these NBA thought processes into football because, like we just said, right? Football, or basketball, you're 1 of 15.
Right.
If I lose the one, I'm done. In football, you're 1 of 53. Not to say Trevis Gipson can't be a key piece on this team, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears said, "We're not going to trade you. What are you going to do? Not show up and not make money?" You're going to show up. You're going to play.
Right.
If he doesn't play, right, it's a contract year for him. You might as well have let them cut you.
It makes for a really interesting week because Tuesday, 3:00 is the cut down time for all the front offices. And it also means that the Bears have the number one waiver wire position.
Yeah.
And they will have access to quite a few guys, depending on who is let go. They will have a lot of opportunity, whether it's offensive linemen, defensive linemen, to find guys that do get released by teams or put on waivers by teams. So it'll be interesting to see. I know you're thinking Chris Jones, but Trevis Gipson is not, Pat, going to give you enough to get Chris Jones from Kansas City.
I mean, here's my whole thought process with that, right? It's not going to be straight up.
No.
But if you're going to lose that, maybe Trevis Gipson is a good enough piece for you to have the conversation of, okay, we're not giving you a first-round pick. Because that's what they're going to ask for Chris Jones.
Of course they will.
15 and a half sacks last season. We're not giving you a first-round pick. We'll send you Trevis Gipson. We'll give you some draft capital to throw in there as well. At a minimum, at that point, you're swapping out a pass rusher with a much better pass rusher. You're adding that to this defense. I don't know if that's the answer there, because it kind of goes against everything Ryan Poles has done to this point. But I think it's an interesting concept. We heard yesterday from Carmen DeFalco that the Bears are interested in Chris Jones. They are reaching out about him. Maybe this is a situation where this guy already wants out. You can include him in a package. You save some of the draft capital you might have sent that way, and you're able to get a heck of a pass rusher back who's 29. Like, we're acting like he's 45 at the same time.
Right. Get in on the conversation if you want to join us here on the Bears Radio Network. Our number is 312-332-3776. You can also watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ESPN1000 Chicago. Lots of storylines coming out of the third preseason game for the Bears. It feels like forever since they've had a win. And it will be almost forever since they've had a win when they open up against Green Bay in 2.5 weeks. But there's still a lot of work to be done. Let's talk a little bit more about Justin Fields. Did we see enough of him? I don't think we need to see him going downfield as much as we need to see the intermediate passes. Do we feel like they were in a rhythm on offense? Was there a command of the huddle? I don't think there's any question about a command of the huddle. But I still don't think the offense is a well-oiled machine.
I don't think realistically we saw anything, right? I think what we saw today was, can Doug Kramer snap the football to Justin Fields? Then Justin Fields handed it off. You saw him drop back a couple of times, try to make a couple of short passes, right? I mean, you were also going up against the Bills' number one defense. I think that there was a lot of things that you could look at and go, okay, right, like, I want to see more from Justin in this situation. But what the Bears, I believe, wanted to see from Justin was, can he take the snap and not fumble? Is Doug Kramer going to fall over every time he snaps the football, right? We had Sam Musfer here last year. We saw people literally at center falling over their own feet. So you want to see kind of that rapport. I think the Bears saw what they wanted to see. And then I think at the end of it, right, you see the big throw to DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you kind of get excited. At the same time, wanted a better ball on that. Little low.
All right, let's talk about the running backs as well, because Khalil Herbert has been the assumed number one running back. Khalil Herbert today only had 2 carries for -1 yards.
Yeah.
Did not ever get a push. That could very well be from the offensive line, the makeshift line that they had. Never really hit any of the holes. We didn't get to see that speed that we're used to seeing from him in spurts. When your 2 quarterbacks are your leading rushers, that is not what you want to see in the preseason. We know that Justin Fields can run with the football. We saw that Tyson Bagent can run with the football.
Yeah.
We don't need to see the quarterbacks run with the football anymore. I'm a little concerned with the running back rotation. Exactly who is number one? Dante Foreman was out there.
Yeah.
Roshan Johnson was out there, and Khalil Herbert. What did you think?
I look at the running back room right now, and I think that's the part that ends up getting hit the hardest by the offensive line having its struggles, right? This offensive line was an offensive line that could get pushed last season for the run game, right? They could go forward. They could move people out of the way. Bears were the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL, right? Like all of those things, that's an effect of the offensive line. That's what happens when you get down to Doug Kramer and Dieter Iceland. I think when we get to the regular season, my hope is that we're going to see a lot more of these guys healthy, with Cody Whitehair kind of moving in the right direction with that cast on his hand at left guard now. I feel a little bit better. I think we're going to see more the more we see this first team offensive line. But Peggy, at the end of the day, when are we going to see the first team offensive line? That's the biggest question.
It is a big question. So when we look at the roster makeup last year, heading into week 1, the Bears had 3 running backs. And if they do the same, obviously it is Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman and Roshan Johnson. Travis Homer is a special teamer. Treston Ebner has been injured. I think we're looking at a couple of bubble players, if not cuts. Isaiah Ford came out today. We saw him a couple of times.
He made a good that 2-minute warning play kind of solidified his name a little bit more for me. Yeah, I mean, like keep him around for the special team side of things.
Yeah, Robert Burns. Would you keep 2 fullbacks? No, he's got to be a practice squad,
I don't think
right?
you can keep 2 fullbacks. I do think he makes the practice squad.
When the number of tight ends that they have, you don't need 2 fullbacks.
No.
A tight end is basically
a tight end is going to
fullback.
do the blocking for you. Carlson's a better blocker than he is a pass catcher, as we saw today on that dot by Tyson Bagent that should have came down in his hands.
Well, and last year they had the 2 tight ends. This year they they will keep 3.
Yeah.
It is going to be Komet and Tanyan and Mercedes Lewis. So that could either take away from the wide receivers or from the running backs when it comes to the final roster.
I think you got some fear on the wide receiver side, right? If you're Velus Jones, this is not a game for you to miss, especially with how well young Tyler Scott did in the kick return and punt return game today.
That's a great point. When we come back, let's talk about that. Tyler Scott got the returns today, looked pretty good as well. There's so many other positions up for grab. Offensive line, defensive line, cornerback, so much more to talk about. We want to take your phone calls, 312-332-3776. Peggy and Pat on the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
Football Fest is tomorrow. Come on out. We want to meet you and talk football like it's the only thing that matters. And let's face it, it is. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster.com or at the Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana box office. Brought to you in part by Astound Broadband, Chicagoland Hooters, and Pick Your Part, the ESPN Chicago Football Fest, Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. See you tomorrow.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-million or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-million.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
If you drove a 2023 Nissan Rogue with 5 drive modes, going out for dinner with the family could take you to the great outdoors. But in a basic SUV, family outings might be a little predictable.
Hello, welcome to Basic Town Burgers.
So why settle for ordinary when you could satisfy your taste for adventure? The Nissan Rogue, far from basic.
Optional feature shown. Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey, football fans of Chicago. Football season means it's time to start thinking about the roof on your business. Is it time to winterize? Make the right call. A game plan that includes the highly trained craftsmen and craftswomen of Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 to get the job done right. To find professionally trained roofing and waterproofing contractors who are dedicated to providing quality, value, and service, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org. For business roofing and waterproofing, it's ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Hey, Chicagoland, it's Sylvie. The newest Steinhafels Furniture and Mattress Superstore is opening soon. Join them on August 31st as they open their 4th Illinois store on the corner of Harlem and Lawrence and Harwood Heights. Since 1934, Steinhafels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. Steinhafels has something for every style and every budget. Shop online, visit steinhafels.com. Relax, it's Steinhafels.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
This is a Bears town. We worship great defense. We appreciate frigid temperatures when our 11 are battling their 11 on the lakefront in January. We love a helmet with a chunk of fresh turf lodged in it. This is a Bears town. And we are the new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago. Chicago's home for sports is Chicago's new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
Welcome back to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. Peggy Kusinski along with Pat the designer sitting in for John Yurkovich today. And the Bears lose their preseason finale to the Buffalo Bills 24-21. They finished the preseason 1-2 after last year sweeping the preseason, but then going on to having a record-losing season for the franchise. Lots of questions, though, leading into Tuesday, 3 o'clock roster cut down. Let's bring you guys in on the phone lines to get your reactions as well. 312-332-3776. Let's begin in Greenville, Texas. Southside Q, you're up on the postgame show.
What's going on, Pat?
What's happening? What's happening? Q, how you feeling, brother?
You already know, brother. You already know. I'm gonna go on get into it real hard right quick.
Let's do it.
Badgers number 2, he won't clear waivers because teams are trading for quarterbacks. You can't tell me that Arizona will pick him up if you put him on. So he can be your number 2. Let him develop. We see enough for P.J. Walker. He can be the 3. That's fine. Khalil Herbert, he's not a number 1. 3 missed blocks in 2 weeks. He's dropping passes. He can't be your number 1 if he can't block and he can't catch. So Foreman should be your number 1. Roshan will be your number 2. He'll eventually take over for that spot. Khalil Herbert, he still plays in that third down role because he hasn't shown that he can pass block. He hasn't shown that he really can catch. Wide receivers are fine. Just need to get them healthy, get some rhythm. Offensive linemen, you may have to pick up one or two off of waivers. Let's see what happens on this waiver wire thing. Chris Morgan's line coach, you're kind of on notice this year. We need to see development out of that unit together. What are you doing up front? Because a lot of that number one rushing offense last year was just running for his life. So I need to see, can Simo actually really coach? That's what we're looking for this year. Is the coaching staff really coaching, or are we hanging on the excuse here? Edmonds, he didn't really play that well today. You can see that rust on a couple of those plays.
Yeah.
Sanborn, on that third down conversion down there on the goal line, that's on you. If you just stay in the middle of the field, you actually intercept that ball. If you just stay there, or you make Josh Allen run out of bounds. So I'm going to put that on just you not being played. So I've been watching the game. Secondary, I think, will be fine. Health is always going to be a concern with the guys on the back end, Eddie Jackson and Jaquan. Other than that, you're looking at a floor of 7 wins, a ceiling of 12 wins. I mean, I'm looking, Pat, you know how we do at the Breeze, baby. You know, we come with everything. We come with it.
Thank you. I love it. I love it, man. You done broke down the whole 53. Me and Peggy don't have a show to do no more.
It's the Q post-game show.
It's the Q post-game show. Shout out to you, Q. Appreciate you for showing love, bro.
Yeah, man. It's all good, baby.
Hey, I think he made a lot of good points there, though, right? Like when you start to look at, especially his point on the coaching staff. Ryan Poles addressed talent. We all feel that heading into this season now. Now the question mark is, with a lot of the coaches on this team, how are you going to utilize that talent? And I think that's one thing to me that I'm going to be focused in most on this season. It's not just about how is Justin Fields or how is Justin Fields going to do this, or how are the Bears going to run the football. For me, it's about how's Luke Getsy going to put these guys in a position to be successful.
Let me say something, though, about Chris Morgan. I am going to disagree a bit about Q's analysis that he needs to show that he can coach these guys up, because the reason they don't look good right now is because they're all injured.
They're all hurt. Yes.
They're all hurt. You had 3/5 of your starting offensive line out today.
No, 100%.
Now, you want to see how well Chris Morgan has actually coached guys? Let's think about the fact that Tevin Jenkins did not have a job on this unit a year ago.
Yeah.
They switch him inside to right guard. He is one of the best guards in the division last year. Was definitely the best one on the Bears last year. Then they move him over to the left side, as well as putting up a Braxton Jones at left tackle, a rookie who had never seen big time defenders before coming out of college.
Yeah.
Right. So then you got that. I used to think, why are they switching guys around on the offensive line? This needs to be a ballet where they are all in sync together and they know exactly what each other does on each side of them. But with Chris Morgan's whole philosophy of every guy playing every position almost, they're able to plug guys in, because look at the injury factor on this unit.
And the best thing I think that we saw today is, the scheme to me was better. How they were right. Now, listen, you didn't see a ton of the QB1 stuff with Justin Fields.
Right.
But what we did see, I think the scheme looked better. I think that, when they went max protect, I think when you got your tight ends in there, right? We're a long way away. I'll say this, health-wise, still a struggle, but we're a long way away from that Cleveland game where Matt Nagy's sending Justin Fields out there to die.
Right.
We are a long way away from there. So.
All right, offensive line is on a lot of guys' minds today. Let's go out to Robert in Green Bay. Hello, Robert. You're on the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
What's up, Peggy? What's up, Matt?
Robert, what's good, man?
I'm just waiting for the week 1 that we beat the Packers. I'm not worried about the offensive line. They'll get healthy, and once they get healthy, they'll protect Justin. But the key is trading that number 1 pick and getting him elite receiver like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see a lot of bubble screens with DJ Moore. And a lot of defenders are going to not tackle him because he's so big. That's number 1 key. And the number 2 key is Ryan Poles better be on the phone with Kansas City for Chandler Jones. I will pay him $30 million, what he wants. You're 29 years old, but you got a Super Bowl ring. I need an elite defensive player that can show these youngins how to, to be an elite like myself. Because if you put Chandler Jones on one side,
Chris Jones,
you got Chris Jones. You got Ngakwe on the other side.
Yeah.
Bring on the Packers. Bring on anybody. We'll beat them. Because to me, Justin Fields is going to prove everybody wrong.
Listen.
Like Daniel Orlovsky said, that Justin Fields is going to probably play an MVP level. I will agree with him on that because
Robert, good points. I got to address the Chris Jones stuff though, because listen, we would love Chandler Jones.
I'll take either Jones. I'm not going to lie to you.
A Raiders defensive lineman on the offensive line is not a bad idea.
I'll take either Jones.
Right.
We've been burned by the Raiders before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. And speaking of, Leatherwood is still on the team.
We've been burned by the Raiders before.
Yeah.
Let's get away from that.
Yeah. All right. So your comments along with Robert. He's not worried.
I'm not going to say that I'm not worried about the offensive line because I think coming into this season, we all had the same concern. How healthy is Tevin Jenkins? Tevin Jenkins is going through a rigorous, and it's not he's getting injured. It's not any fault of his own. He's doing legitimately everything down to working the small muscles in his back, doing Pilates, doing all these things to try and keep himself on the field. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come out and try to attack Tevin for not doing enough. That's dumb. Like, if we're being 100% honest. To me, I just still have to question it, and I've questioned it the entire time. Peggy, how often do you see guys that big have back injuries and the rest of their careers just fine?
Right.
I maybe once or twice every 10 years you'll see it, but for the most part, you see those guys continue to have injuries. And the main thing is now, right, the two-strain calf. I know everybody's like, why did you mention the back? Your back is everything. Your back goes to your calf muscles. Your spine goes through your entire body. It's your central nervous system. So everything is connected through what he's doing with his back. And when you try to compensate with one thing in another area, something else ends up lacking, and you see those injuries continue to pile up. I think that's a problem.
We still need to talk about Tyson Bagent, QB2, it looks like now for the Chicago Bears, a diamond in the rough that they might have found out of Shepherd University. Also, the news about Trevis Gipson seeking permission and receiving it from the Bears, according to Jeremy Fowler, to find teams that would be interested in trading for him. And we still have all the bubble players to talk about as well. And taking your phone calls. 312-332-3776. More on the Great Clips postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
Want to live life at max volume? Then look no further than Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. With over 1,700 slots, 80 table games, live entertainment, and 5 restaurants which span a wide range of culinary genres, we are sure to have something for everyone. Whether you want to indulge in a savory dish at Council Oaks Steaks and Seafood, or take in dinner and live music at the world-renowned Hard Rock Cafe. Amplify your entertainment experience at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Just off Exit 6, I-8094. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on.
Must be a Fuel Rewards. Offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks a kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays. Bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish. Going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-MILLION. Okay, so greaterness isn't technically a word, but in Peoria, Illinois, it might as well be. You see, they're all about greater here. Greater jobs, greater work-life balance, greater opportunities to grow your career. That's a whole lot of greaterness. With hundreds of open positions in a variety of fields, from healthcare to manufacturing to education, even the job prospects are greater. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org to elevate your career.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
Hey, Chicagoland, it's Sylvie. The newest Steinhafels Furniture and Mattress Superstore is opening soon. Join them on August 31st as they open their 4th Illinois store on the corner of Harlem and Lawrence and Harwood Heights. Since 1934, Steinhafels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. Steinhafels has something for every style and every budget. To find out more and shop online, visit steinhafels.com. Relax, it's Steinhafels.
The Chicago Bears' new home. ESPN Chicago.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
Play fake and set up the throw. Over the middle, he's got his man DJ Moore at the 44-yard line. He doesn't go down and spins out of it to the 50, to the 40 of the Bills, and out of bounds inside the 35. He went low to get the catch. Knees did not touch the ground. The Bills did not finish the play, and DJ exploded.
DJ Moore with one catch today, but it was for those 40 yards we're starting to see in 2 games.
Yeah.
2 big plays, yards after the catch, explosive plays, the capabilities that they have. But the question is, who will be playing opposite him? They did target Darnell Mooney. I thought they targeted him a few times, but I don't think he had a catch. He had one in the end zone that he was covered pretty well for. Stephen Carlson was the Bears' leading receiver today with 3 receptions for 41 yards. He was targeted 5 times. Simba Webster was targeted 6 times. These are guys, obviously, that were on the bubble.
Right.
So they're targeting them. So the receiving room is getting interesting as well. We know what they're capable of, but we still really haven't seen a lot from Justin Fields in terms of the short passing game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you haven't seen, like I said, you saw 2 passes the first game, 3 passes realistically. The first game, he goes 3 for 3. In this game, he throws the ball 6 times, tries to get it to Mooney 1 time, hits DJ Moore. It goes for 40 yards. I think if anything, right, like, yeah, there's some things that Justin Fields needs to improve on. I'm not sitting here telling you that, he's the perfect quarterback already. Like Robert said, I don't know if Orlovsky's right that he's going to win MVP this year. He's going to be in the running for that, right? But, like, the one thing that I can say is the Bears basically saw what they wanted to see in those first 3 passes. Today didn't change anything. It didn't show me anything. They didn't run anything. They were just like, all right, throw it out that way. Throw it out that way. Now, what I will say, Justin, it's preseason, brother. Stop running. Get out of the way. What are you doing? It's preseason. Somebody getting his ear on.
I looked up and I thought, nope. Don't need to see you doing that. I think Mitchell in Displains agrees a little bit that he might have some concerns over Justin Fields as well. Mitchell, welcome into the postgame show.
I can always count on a Virgo to get it right, Peggy. You're absolutely 100% correct. My reservations about Justin Fields stem from his very, days as a rookie up to this point. He does not throw in tight windows. He's a very far cry from ever being an MVP. He does not like to throw downhill throw downfield with any accuracy. In terms of reading a defense, he still can't do that. This is a passing league, Peggy, and what I find, Pat, is that we are basically watching a rerun. And in terms of actually throwing in tight windows, in a passing league, you need these characteristics. I would die for Jay Cutler right now.
Mitchell, but what did you see?
I saw basically all the passes that he's thrown so far have been J.J. Moore has had to make an adjustment. They're low into the inside. They're not just right into what I call the gut. These are basic steps that a quarterback goes and learns in Pop Warner. And unfortunately, it's not the offensive line. It's not the receiving core. It's his flawed mechanics and his throwing motion. When you watch me break down film on Justin Fields, he has a slow delivery, and that does not bode well when you have an NFL tempo defense that's faster. That's why we have this disconnect. That's why he only threw last year for 2,242 yards. And then you have these tickets that think he's going to go from 2,240 yards to 4,000 passing yards. Now, Team Virgo, right? Let's be honest here, okay? That's a very hard number to accomplish.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Right, but I'm saying you have all these tickets and these neophytes that throw us out there like it's some Johnny Appleseed fairy tale. We don't have a passing quarterback. Okay, I've been watching this game, Peggy. By the way, fellow SIU alumni, class of 91. By the way, the bottom line is this, okay? I've been watching for 54 years. Okay, I love it. I went from Bobby Douglas to Gary Huff to Bob Eberflus, and then you have the first time I ever saw a real passer was St. Devin. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, bring it all forward. The Bears are going to do exactly what they did last year. Except you got a better defense. And when it comes down to the fourth quarter, you saw last year, Peggy, we're doing these shows. You saw the same script. Fourth quarter and just action. No, you got people that don't understand it. You had a great running game. You still have a great running back game, and you can't actually play action. That goes back to Pop Warner. I mean, I don't get it. And they showed very little preseason. And so what are they? Little dumpy passes? These little passes by Justin Fields are not strikes. Those are good throws, and they're bad throws. And I'll tell you, when you start playing distance, which you play with meaning, that ball was
Mitchell, you got to breathe, bro.
All right.
You got to breathe. I
Mitchell,
am impressed.
All right, Mitchell, we get the message. This is what I will say about Justin Fields. Is he getting the ball out quicker? Absolutely. Yes. He's not taking the sacks.
Mitchell's not wrong. He is inaccurate. Or not inaccurate. He's not hitting him in the right?
Right.
Let's say that.
Right. I do agree with that. He wasn't scrambling as much, but we wanted to see more intermediate passes. Yes. That's what Josh Allen did today. They were like short pass, short pass, short pass, short pass. That's what we need to see. But Eberflus even said after the game that they did not put anything in the game plan that you would likely to see. So we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves right now.
And you saw literally, I think here's the thing. If you feel like you can judge the growth that Justin Fields has made in 9 passes versus what we've seen him do in practice, versus what we saw him do in training camp, versus what we saw him do versus Colts joint practice, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, it's like, okay, I don't have an argument for he didn't look good in 9 passes, which in 4 of those passes, he did look good. In 4 of those passes, they went for, or 3 of those passes went for touchdowns, I should say. So I don't know, man. I can't get that riled up over just yet.
We'll ask Courtney Cronin when we come back. She will join us from Soldier Field, having covered the game, covered the locker room, and all the post-game interviews as well. Get her take on the reports that we heard as well about Trevis Gipson seeking permission for a trade, and so much more. This is the Great Clips post-game show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Football Fest is tomorrow. Come on out. We want to meet you and talk football like it's the only thing that matters. And let's face it, it is. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster.com or at the Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana box office. Brought to you in part by Astound Broadband, Chicagoland Hooters, and Pick Your Part, the ESPN Chicago Football Fest, Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. See you tomorrow.
Hi, Jan from Toyota here.
Hi, Jan. My friend
posting photos in their new Toyotas. Summer's almost over, and I've got FOMO.
Well, FOMO, NOMO, because Toyota's national sales event is on, and it's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer in a new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
I can't wait to post photos of myself grilling at the park with my new RAV4.
I will meet you there.
Well done, Jen.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Bears football at Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays. Lists on Mondays. Going deep dish. Going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-MILLION. Peoria, Illinois, that wildly underrated beach of a place downstate, wants you to take its jobs. Okay, so their careers, really. High-paying ones at world-class companies. And there are hundreds of them, just waiting for someone with as much talent as you to say, bleep it, I'm moving to Peoria. But that overabundance of opportunity isn't the only thing Peoria has going for it. To explore all the perks and to land your dream career, head to choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality, value, and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry, promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training. Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Are you ready for a winning drive, Chicago? It's time to tackle your car search with Bill Jacobs Auto Group, the true champions of automotive excellence. Score big with a third-generation family-run business committed to our community and fair upfront pricing. Touchdown with our unparalleled service experience and an extensive selection of new and used vehicles. Don't fumble on your car buying journey. Visit Bill Jacobs Auto Group today and experience the Bill Jacobs way, the MVP of car dealerships. At Bill Jacobs, the cars bring you in and the experience brings you back.
This is a Bears town. From the funky QB to the ridiculous Devin. From Mongo to Peanut. From sweetness to our dream of fields. This is a Bears town. And this is the home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. A new era of Chicago Bears football has begun, and ESPN Chicago is your new home for the Bears.
ESPN Chicago.
Here's the snap, the placement, the kick from 51 yards. He's got a second 50-plus yarder this preseason.
Dialed in, is ready to go for regular season.
You're listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears radio network. Peggy Kusinski alongside Pat the designer, sitting in for John Yurkovich today as the Bears fall in their preseason finale to the Buffalo Bills, 24-21. As if the score mattered, there are so many other things to talk about. We need to talk to our Bears insider, Courtney Cronin from ESPN.com. Courtney, thank you for joining us. I don't know where to begin, but let's start where our conversation with our callers just ended. Have we seen enough from Justin Fields to feel good, or is this just by design that we haven't seen enough from him?
Well, I think that that's always going to be part of it, that they're going to want to try to protect the quarterback and keep the quarterback as healthy as possible. And that's why I know that Matt Eberflus said on the after Fields completed that third down screen just outside of the red zone in the first quarter, second quarter, that it was, Well, he hit his number of plays. That's the reason that they ended up pulling him. But of course, they didn't want to see the quarterback get popped there, and he did. But this is what you have, and this is, that's the hand that they decided to play. That they were not going to play him in the second preseason game, and that they were going to get him about 15-ish snaps. I'll have to go back and look at what the exact number was, but I think there's some confidence there that the Bears walk away with, knowing that they had a touchdown drive orchestrated by Justin Fields that gets capped off by Tyson Bagent. But it's a good feeling, I think, for this first team offense to know that it wasn't awful today behind the first team offensive line. Of course, there were some moments that there's some plays even Fields said he wished he would have had back, some throws he wished he would have had back. But of course, that catch and run by DJ Moore, always a positive sign. And I think with Fields too, the times that he ran, I don't know if we were really expecting to see a whole bunch of that in the preseason, but he stayed healthy with it. And that's really all that you can hope for coming out of this final preseason game.
Courtney, where is the team feeling right now with this offensive line heading into the season? We still see a lot of bodies going down. Saw Doug Kramer go down a little bit today as well. How is this team feeling like it's going to be week one? Do they feel like these guys are going to be back?
Well, it's interesting because Ryan Poles was on the broadcast, I think in the third quarter or at halftime, and he had made the comment that he felt like they were going to be getting some guys back for week one. So if that's the case, and they're just trying to slow play this stuff, whether it's Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, Lucas Patrick, the three that we didn't see out there today, that's a different look, and that's a better look than what they had being down to their fourth-string center. I was trying to do the math in my head. I don't know who on this offensive line would end up being the fifth-string center if it comes down to that. We saw Doug Kramer leave today in a cast on his right arm, right hand. His thumb and the rest of the cast was pretty noticeable. And Matt Eberflus said that that's not something they know the true extent on yet. That the way he made it sound was that these things sometimes can calm down. Whatever it is, clearly something with his hand. In the next 24 hours, they'll got to get a better read on it. But you don't want to go into week one with Doug Kramer as your starting center when it's supposed to be Cody Whitehair and then it's supposed to be Lucas Patrick, and then you're down to your third-string guy, and then the fourth-string center and Deere Eisland had to play the entire game today. It's not a great situation any way that you shake it, but I think that if they can get a couple of those guys back, and if they're comfortable, which they are, playing Cody Whitehair at left guard for the time being, then they can get by. But of course, they wanted full health, and it's unfortunate how the Kevin Jenkins injury caused this domino effect with the rest of the offensive line that they're now having to deal with as they get ready for cutdown day.
And Noah Sewell, we also saw leave with injury as well. Deontay Foreman left with injury. Little concerned, a couple of guys that we were expecting to see a lot of in the regular season here. Is there anything that points outside of Doug Kramer having the cast on his hand that Sewell and Foreman, is that anything that should be concerned in 2 weeks when they host the Packers?
I think the Sewell one more than any of the others, because I know that Matt Eberflus didn't have. He said he talked to him after the game, and he was in good spirits in the locker room, but it sounded like there was less clarity on that injury. And when I was watching him on the field with trainers, he kind of pulled towards, there's a trainer had his hand on his upper thigh, on his upper left thigh, and it looked like he was in some pretty significant discomfort. He walks on his own to the sideline, but then they have to cart him back to the locker room. That one's one to keep an eye on, because if he ends up having to, if this is an IR level injury, then that opens up a roster spot, and you do have guys that you might try to figure out a creative way to get them onto your roster after initial cuts happen. But that one looked probably like the worst one that we saw today of the injuries. They had 3 or 4 if you include Gabe Hoy, who went out with that right leg injury, and he had to be carted off the field too. And it's tough because a lot of these injuries that happen, especially the ones that are in the second half, are players who aren't going to make the roster. Now, Noah Sewell doesn't fall into that category. Deontay Foreman does not fall into that category. But Doug Kramer, in any other respect, is probably a practice squad guy. And I still would imagine that he is a practice squad guy. And Gabe Hoy is a practice squad candidate. He's a rookie. It's unfortunate when these things happen, but it is something that they're prepared for. And you just try to mitigate your losses as best you can. But certainly Bears watching over the next 48 hours to get into cut down day and what the decisions are going to be made surrounding those.
Courtney, on a little bit more of a positive note, right? We know the injuries are there, but let's talk about somebody that might make this team. Did we see enough from Tyson Bagent to name him number 2 over PJ Walker?
So I don't know if he's going to be the number 2 quarterback. I asked Matt Eberflus about that, but just in terms of what he saw from Tyson Bagent today, and if that's given him like any more of a leg up or anything more in the number 2 quarterback battle. So we don't know if it'll end up being PJ Walker, if it's going to be Bagent. Remember, they can carry 3 on the game day roster because of the emergency quarterback rule. Of course, both quarterbacks would have to go down before you got to the number 3 quarterback. But I thought he did a good job. And some of the things Matt Eberflus pointed out about the timing in the pocket and those sorts of things are important to, when you're trying to evaluate a rookie quarterback to see how he can, make strides in the passing game. Like those are the things they're going to look back at on tape. But I think that both he and PJ Walker end up on the active roster for a number of different reasons. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the number 2, but I don't know if it's necessarily if the way the coaches are looking at this. I mean, PJ Walker had a really good drive at the end of the game, and they converted on the 2-point. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to I still think Tyson Bagent has the edge, but again, this coaching staff may not see it that way given Walker's experience in the NFL versus somebody who, played at the D2 levels. No disrespect to that. And obviously he had 50 starts for his career, but it's definitely bears watching again. I mean, that's the most intriguing position battle that we'll end up seeing going down to the wire here on Tuesday to see how many they carry on the active roster. And then when they put their depth chart out, who's where and who truly is the backup quarterback.
Ryan Poles did a good job of sidestepping any direct answers when it came to the Trevis Gipson report by Jeremy Fowler right after the game started, in that he had been given permission, reportedly, to seek a trade and possibly to a 3-4 defense. What's interesting is that Ryan Poles would talk about how the defensive line room and the defensive back room are some of the most competitive right now and the toughest decisions on hand. What do you make of the Trevis Gipson report today?
It came out in the middle of the first quarter, so I don't really know. I remember what Poles was talking about, telling players don't listen to social media reports or whatever that comment was. I don't think they would have heard that one because it didn't come out until the middle of, when they're all playing. None of them had their phones, so I don't know. Unless there was some speculation around it before, which there wasn't. I think you've got to take a look at what this depth chart looks like right now. And the more that I've thought about it, because I've waffled on this one back and forth, and thinking about where they can put Rasheem Green, where Terrell Lewis is, and all of this. I don't think Gipson after today. And I just put my 53 up at ESPN.com. I don't have Gipson on my 53-man roster because. Remember, as much as it would be great to keep all 4 backup defensive ends, everybody behind Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker, that means that you have to cut from a different position. They can't really afford to cut from the linebacker position right now because they've got to, however serious the thing is, they have to carry him onto the active roster. He's a 4th-round pick. You're not going to a 5th-round pick. You're not going to move past him and, just leave him open to somebody claiming him. I just think that would be short-sighted. And there's other positions that I don't think you can afford to go heavy at. You need one of the spots for the extra defensive end. I've got 5 on mine, but I think with Trevis Gipson, he's played well enough that he will end up on another team. And the way that Matt Eberflus talked about him post-game, nothing but glowing comments about him as a person. Really did not say all that much about the report itself, and I understand that, but I do think that he has shown enough that if it's not here, he will end up on someone else's roster next week.
Well, Tuesday's the cut down at 3 p.m. They have to cut the roster down from 90 to 53. I know it's a lot of work for the Bears front office. It's a lot of work for you as well, Courtney. Courtney Cronin, thank you so much. Great job as always.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Courtney Cronin, our Bears insider. You can catch all of her reports at ESPN.com. You are listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. We're going to pause 10 seconds for a station ID. When we come back, we will take more of your phone calls. 312-332-3776.
The new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago. WMVP. WSHE HD2. Chicago.
Turn up your weekend plans at Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Dance the night away every Friday and Saturday night at the Hard Rock Cafe stage. Or grab a cocktail while you listen to local beats at the Council Oak stage. Get closer to your favorite artist than ever before in our state-of-the-art Hard Rock Live, where we host some of the biggest artists in the industry. Live your life at max volume. Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. Just off exit 6, I-80-94. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
If you drove a 2023 Nissan Rogue with 5 drive modes, going out for dinner with the family could take you to the great outdoors. But in a basic SUV, family outings might be a little predictable.
Hello, welcome to Basic Town Burgers.
So why settle for ordinary when you could satisfy your taste for adventure? The Nissan Rogue, far from basic.
Optional feature shown. Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on.
Must be a Fuel Rewards. Offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, Chicagoland, it's Sylvie. The newest Steinhafels Furniture and Mattress Superstore is opening soon. Join them on August 31st as they open their 4th Illinois store on the corner of Harlem and Lawrence and Harwood Heights. Since 1934, Steinhafels has been helping families make the home of their dreams. Steinhafels has something for every style and every budget. To find out more and shop online, visit steinhafels.com. Relax, it's Steinhafels.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-MILLION or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-MILLION. You've got the talent, the moxie, and the grit, but you're still buried on the bench, waiting for a chance to prove it. If that sounds familiar, it may be time to take your talents to Peoria, Illinois. They're looking to fill hundreds of high-paying positions in all industries, and there's plenty of room on the roster for candidates like you. Sound good? Check out choosegreaterpeoria.org to learn more. Do it now. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Chicago's home for sports is Chicago's new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago.
We are finding the great play of the game, and we are going to give it to Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson, man, he was one of your risk and reward players. You love him, you hate him, you love him, you hate him. Tyreek, welcome to the NFL, right?
Yeah, at least we ended on you love him. I think at a minimum, we left the game feeling more of the love than the hate, and we thought he did some really good things there.
Tyreek Stevenson's finding the great play of the game. Although he did have the 2 penalties, one in the red zone that kept the Bills' drive alive, allowing them to then score. He came back after his second penalty, and he had the interception. Here it is.
Here's the snap and a throw to the left side, and Stevenson in his hands turns around at the last second to intercept Kyle Allen at the 16. Defending Gabriel Davis. He turned around like Velcro is sitting there right in his breadbasket.
Finding the great play of the game goes to Tyreek Stevenson at Great Clips. Their online check-in app saves you time on haircuts. With just a few taps, you can get in and out with a fresh haircut. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Also, join the greatest salon team. Visit jobs.greatclips.com. All salons are independently owned and operated. Contact your local salon for specific safety measures. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Tyreek Stevenson here, Pat, because this is a guy who's got all the talent in the world. You want to talk about coaching? John Hoke has his hands full.
Yeah.
He's going to have to rein him in.
I think Tyreek Stevenson's the biggest problem I saw is, one, he's got to figure out that line between being a physical player and being a too physical player, a player that's going to draw those penalties, right? Got the holding penalty, got the 2 holding penalties. I believe both of them were holding penalties, right? And he's just aggressive. And then, right, we see the touchdown. I want to say that was Demore. That Kyle Allen ends up throwing after the interception, where Tyreek Stevenson kind of goes underneath, but he goes underneath way too late, but he still almost gets it because he's got such long arms. He's got such great leaping ability. I think that he's going to have a struggle with that transition of, hey, my physical attributes aren't going to just put me over the top anymore. I've also got to be great in my technique, and we've heard them talk about that with him a lot, right? Coming away with the pick, but gambling at times.
312-332-3776. Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go out to Hyde Park, where Christy is joining us. Hello, Christy. Welcome in to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Hi, how are you?
Good,
how are
Christy.
you guys?
Good. How you doing, Christy?
Hey.
What up, Christy?
What up? I wanted to talk about Tyson really quick. I heard you guys' insider when she said that she thinks PJ Walker's going to be the second string quarterback behind Justin Fields. I feel like Tyson will be, because in the preseason game against the Buffalo Bills, he went in after Justin Fields to complete the reps that they were doing, and he was getting more time than PJ Walker, because PJ Walker pretty much messed up and looked like a deer in headlights the past couple of games in the preseason. And I feel like with that, even though they signed him, I don't see PJ making the roster. I know he got the emergency quarterback rule, so he might because of that, but Tyson's going to be our second string. I feel like he's proven himself, especially today, that he deserves that spot more than PJ. Then I also want to say really quick, I'm rooting so bad for Tyreek Stevenson to make the cut. The man's been working so hard in preseason and training camp. I'm rooting for him bad to make the roster.
Oh, he'll be on it.
He'll be on there. They're not going to let him go. They just drafted him. But appreciate you calling in.
I know. But I'm rooting for him. But he kind of messed up with some penalties and stuff. But
Facts.
he redeemed himself right after that. So I'm rooting for him.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you for the call.
hits principle, when he's getting graded,
Yeah.
his intensity is there. It's great. But again, Tyreek, rein it in.
Yeah.
Rein it in.
He's gonna be one of those guys. Once he tightens up the technique, we're gonna talk about is that Flus type corner, right? That guy that is talked about among the league. The fact that the physical attributes have carried him to this point, not to say he's got terrible technique, but there are times where he leans more on his physicality, leans more on his size, on his strength, on his length, on his jumping ability. I think once he gets to the point where he's like, oh, I know exactly what you're going to do, we'll see him be a lot better.
Let's go out to the South Side, where P-Kid is up next. Hey, P-Kid.
Hey, I like the way she introduced that. How's it going, Peggy?
Good. Welcome into the Bears postgame show on the Bears Radio Network.
I appreciate it. Pat, how's it going?
What's going on, my boy? How you feeling?
I'm great. Breeze Nation in the building. You know how we do. I got a quick question for you all. I'm going to shift a little bit from running backs because you all actually already talked about that. I like what you have to say. Let's go back into this risk-reward type player. So I saw Tyler Scott do something today that Velus Jones couldn't do. So, what to get your thoughts on whether or not
Hang on to the ball.
Kid, what did he do?
Hey, he just caught the ball. He caught the ball. You know, he caught the ball. You know, he decided, hey, this is not a catchable ball. I'm going to get out the way. You know, he made good decisions. You know, so at that point, tell me what you think about Velus Jones and his ability to stay on this particular roster, and if you may, second part again of this is. Tell me at what point do you show concern in regards to our QB in that whole situation, given the injuries, given the things of that nature, and also us not seeing much in this preseason? Like, at what point throughout the season do you sit there and say, okay, now we have to really consider, like, what's going on here?
Well, listen, if he comes out in week 1 against Green Bay, not to say that that's the end-all, be-all, but appreciate the call as always, kid. If he comes out week 1 and you didn't play him all preseason, you didn't run him through a lot of the things that Jordan Love and different guys are running, and he looks like the worst quarterback, I'm concerned, right? Because you believe that he was something that he did not show you, and you know how important this first divisional game is. It's not just a loss. When people say, oh, we lost to the Packers, it's not. No, you double lost, because not only did you lose, they won. They're now ahead of you in the division. Everyone in that room, they have 2 jobs. They said it in the 1920 drive. They said, our goal is to win the division and beat the Packers. They know what week 1 is. If you're putting all this emphasis on that and you're not, and you don't come out of that with a win and Justin looks bad, no, I'm concerned.
As for Velus Jones Jr., I do think the coaching staff really likes Velus Jones. Has he obviously had a case of the yips when it comes to catching the punt returns?
Yeah.
Yes, that's an issue.
Yeah.
But they like what he can offer to the offense as well. Some will argue that he barely showed anything last year in the offense, which is fine. He's a rookie last year. But he's a gadget guy that they can use in a lot of different ways that gives Luke Getsy a whole nother layer to the offense. Now, I would argue that Velus Jones may be given a 9th life here with his second year. But once Tyler Scott comes up to speed and you have your speedy young kid, Velus may find himself on the outside looking in, not just as punt returns, but on offense as well. And that could come maybe next year.
This is, if Velus makes this roster, and I think he's going to, right? I think he's going to. I don't think they're going to cut him. We've heard that Alan Williams loves him.
Yes.
Are you willing to tie your job to it? Not to say they're going to remove him.
No, Richard Hightower.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Richard Hightower. Yes,
Yep.
he loves him. Are you willing to tie your job to this young man? Because this young man didn't lose you 1 game last year, Peggy. He lost you 2. Literally, there's a clip of everything it took on Twitter for the Bears to lose. Somebody put a montage together. Great montage, by the way. Some great editors out there in the content world. And 3 of the plays are Velus Jones plays. He's a guy that has lost you games. You're banging the table to keep this guy in the room when realistically, Treston Ebner's a better kick returner. Travis Homer's a better kick returner. Tyler Scott has proven today that he's a better kick returner.
Yep.
I mean, like, I can go down to DJ Moore could return kicks if we really wanted him to.
And he has been. Today he was doing it in warmups.
Let's not see that at all in the season. No, I don't want to see that at all. But the option is there. You're tying yourself to a player that, to me, has proven to you that he's going to struggle. I get, right? He's young. He's going to make mistakes. But young and make mistakes and young and costing games is 2 very different things.
Let's go out to Bellwood where Stefan is next. Is it Stefan? Hello, Stefan. Stephen? Stefan?
Yeah, Stefan.
Stefan, what's good, my boy?
Hi, Stefan.
Yo, what's good? Appreciate y'all for having me. What's good, Pat?
What's going on, Steph? How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, I'm good. Breeze Nation in the building. Hey, listen. So I had a question about the offense and specifically Luke Getsy, because I know today that they said that there wasn't anything really scripted or drawn up for them to run in the game. How has he looked also in year 2 in this offense, setting up the offensive scheme, helping out Justin in a way, because we want to see this offense get it going. So my question to Pat and Peggy, like, how has he necessarily looked practice to you guys, or in general with them running their scheme in the offense this year?
Oh, Luke get after them boys. Luke, I'm not going to lie to you. There are two people that I heard swearing quite a bit at practice. It was Chase Claypool to his own teammates.
Yeah.
Saying some wild stuff. I was like, is that okay? Can you say that on the field? It was Luke Getsy. Because he was so irritated that things weren't being run right the first time. Let's get here. We're making too many mistakes. Luke Getsy is going to get after these guys. I think that we're seeing more the small takeaways that you can take from preseason. I like the plays that he called up today with the blocking scheme attached to them. I like how they ran the little screen passes. I think that there's a lot of things that they're going to do underneath to open up that deep shot to DJ Moore and Justin Fields down the field. And I think that's mostly all what we've seen in preseason, right? The two screen passes weren't supposed to be touchdowns. They were supposed to be,
right.
We're just going to throw this. It's going to suck the defense in, and then I can go long. So I think that Luke Getsy's going to – listen, you got to make the plays. The players got to make the plays, but I think he's going to call a pretty good game this year.
Stefan, thank you for the phone call. We will continue with phone calls at 312-332-3776. More to talk about as we wrap things up in our next segment. We still have to talk about guys like the rookies, the guys who are still on the bubble. Cut down day is on Tuesday. And how about some guys that you just aren't liking what you're seeing as well? We'll go to that when we come back. This is the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Football Fest is tomorrow. Come on out. We want to meet you and talk football like it's the only thing that matters. And let's face it, it is. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster.com or at the Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana box office. Brought to you in part by Astound Broadband, Chicagoland Hooters, and Pick Your Part, the ESPN Chicago Football Fest, Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana. See you tomorrow.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
Money saved through energy efficiency can directly benefit a business's bottom line. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings, resulting in lower energy costs for their facilities. Because at ComEd, we're powering your business's future. Learn more at ComEd.com/poweringbiz. ComEd, powering lives. Savings figure is hypothetical only. Actual savings will vary based on the measures implemented and on customers' usage and rate.
Bears football and Miller Lite, Chicago's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Battles on Sundays. Bliss on Mondays. Going deep dish. Going tavern style. Bearing down, then raising one up. You never forget the way some things taste. Bears football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Touchdown, Chicago. It's game day at Bill Jacobs Auto Group. We tackle the competition the Bill Jacobs way with a commitment to excellence, just like our beloved hometown team. As a third-generation family-run business, we know the value of community involvement and a winning service experience unlike any other dealership. Score big with our vast selection of new and used vehicles, all at fair and upfront pricing. Visit BillJacobs.com to start your car buying journey today. At Bill Jacobs, the cars bring you in and the experience brings you back.
Hey, Chicago fans, I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. Like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show you what Football Tough Injury Lawyers can do for you. Call us at 708-4-million or visit our website at cilaw.com for a free consult.
Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers, 708-4-million. Okay, so greaterness isn't technically a word, but in Peoria, Illinois, it might as well be. You see, they're all about greater here. Greater jobs, greater work-life balance, greater opportunities to grow your career. That's a whole lot of greaterness. With hundreds of open positions in a variety of fields, from healthcare to manufacturing to education,
even the job prospects are greater. Visit choosegreaterpeoria.org to elevate your career.
This is a Bears town. A town where names like Butkus, Sayers, and Peyton need no first name. A place where Hallis, Ditka, and Lovey led us to that final game of the season. A city where we want our coach to know the importance of beating the Packers. This is a Bears town, and we are the new home of the Bears. ESPN Chicago. The Chicago Bears' new home. ESPN Chicago. The new home of the Bears.
Straight ahead to the 10, running right to the 20 with a little aggression. 25, runs away from attacker at the 40, to midfield, tripped up. Had Vance to beat, but he was tripped up by the hard-charging defender that was not giving up, and that saved the day for the Buffalo Bills. Kyron Brown to tackle.
Welcome back to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. A couple more minutes with Peggy Kusinski and Pat the designer as Yurko has the day off. We will be back in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. No, it's 16 days, right? Is opening day. That is our next postgame show. It all kicks off here on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, part of the Bears Radio Network. We have the pregame show, we have the game call, and then the postgame show as well. So we see Tyson Bagent again, this time as QB2. And it is going to be the question all week long whether the Bears keep him as QB2 in place of PJ Walker or risk putting him on the practice squad. A lot of tape out there now on him. A lot of people know that he was a potential late-round draft pick that went undrafted.
Yeah.
Teams are always looking for the golden goose.
I think realistically, right, and I love that we can have this conversation about Tyson Bagent now because I hope after this week we never talk about him again because that means Justin Fields being very successful and he's dominating on the field. But at the end of the day, I do look at this as a situation where I think the question I always ask is, do these training camps, do these practices, do these preseason games mean anything? And if they do, Tyson Bagent is your clear overall number 2 to me. You cannot allow him to go to the practice squad. That's not to say that he doesn't have more experience or he's not going to be able to go out there and perform as well as PJ Walker or whatever going into the season. But I think realistically, we've seen him absolutely – it's not even close. PJ's been awful. PJ's best game is today. Good way to close out. Had a nice drive to finish out the game. But he's been awful the entire preseason. He's been awful the entire training camp. Like, there's been nothing that we've looked at from PJ Walker and said, I believe that he's going to be the perfect backup for Justin Fields. I thought it was when we signed him. I thought he was perfect because of the Moore Foreman connection that comes in. Maybe with starters he does look better. But Bagent going with the same guys look dominant.
I'm thinking Mercedes Lewis came up to Tyson Bagent in the locker room after the game, put his arm around him and said, young man, you did a really nice job today, but the Lambeau Leap is in Green Bay.
I hope so.
You know?
Let's not bring that here. We don't need that.
I mean,
we don't need that
love
kind of
you.
negativity in our life.
Tyson, everyone loves the backup. Everyone loves the backup.
Yeah.
But the Lambeau Leap stays in Green
you
Bay.
need that in Green Bay.
Right?
We don't need that here. We don't need that kind of energy in our lives.
All right, couple other guys that were on the bubble going into this game. Doug Kramer probably needed a good showing today. Unfortunately, he started at center, and then right before Bagent came in for that touchdown drive, of which Justin Fields actually coordinated the drive and then left the game. Doug Kramer had just left the game with an injury, and that's when Dieter Eisland came in. Kramer left, and they said reportedly has a cast or a very large bandage on his hand. Not good 2 years in a row for the Illinois product.
Yeah, and the struggle for Kramer's a center. He is a center. Like, it's not a Lucas Patrick situation where I can slide him in at right guard, left guard. He's a center. Like, he's got to be able to snap the ball. He's got to be able to have his hand on that ball, and you know, he's got to be able to make that connection. I don't see him as a guy who I hate to say it, but I don't see him as a guy who makes this team just based on the fact that, you know, we haven't seen enough of him. We've seen him go down to injury now 2 years in a row.
Defensive line, if they're going to keep 8 D linemen, you've got Ngakwe, of course.
Yeah.
You have Walker. You have Damick Robinson, who was a draft pick last year, but really he had opportunities today and he didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah.
I get he's still young playing a new position. Defensive tackles, you have Billings and Justin Jones and Dexter and Pickens. Both of those guys, Pickens looked really good again today. He had a couple of nice plays in there. That leaves on the bubble, you have Rasheem Green, who they just signed, Trevis Gipson, who reportedly has requested and been given permission, according to Jeremy Fowler, to seek a trade, and Terrell Lewis. You don't think Terrell Lewis has done anything?
I like what Terrell Lewis has done. I'm not going to say that I actually thought he had an opportunity to make this team. I don't think he showed as much today, but I thought he had a real opportunity to make this team. Dom Rob's tough for me. I want to I want to believe it. 1 week versus Trent Williams doesn't prove anything to me. And that was 17 weeks, now 20 weeks ago, right? I want him to be the guy that goes from being a quarterback to being a wide receiver to all of a sudden he's this dominant defensive lineman. Maybe that is going to happen, but right now Trevis Gipson is good.
I know. I mean, it's hard to call. Linebackers, there's typically they keep 6. We saw Tremaine Edmonds for the first time today. Obviously, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, and then Noah Sewell ends up getting hurt.
Yeah.
We don't know the extent of his injury. Dylan Cole, a special teamer, has been injured. Micah Baskerville has played well. And Mikael Walker, another one who has played well, but also has seen some injuries, and DeMarcus Gates. That's going to be an interesting cut down.
For sure. I'm big on Bakersville making this team. Walker is a question mark for me right now. I think he's done some things to put his name in that category, though. He'll be on that last, right? When you get to the bottom and you're like, do we got to cut this guy? I think he'll be there for the depth reasons.
And Ryan Poles did say in his interview on our airwaves during the game that the defensive backs room, along with the defensive line room, has been the most challenging when it comes to the competition for a roster spot. Well, you look at the defensive backs. We haven't seen Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker. Elijah Hicks is looking okay. Then you have A.J. Thomas, Kendall Williamson, Adrian Colbert was put on IR. Cornerbacks, you have Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones, Greg Stroman Jr., Michael Ojemudia.
Yeah.
I mean, you got about 4 guys who are just guys.
I think Vildor might be heading towards being a practice squad guy, even though he's got the experience. I think Ojemudia probably is going to be a practice squad guy, even though he's played well. Blackwell's a special teamer. No matter what he does on the DB side of things, right? He's a guy who gets after it on the special teams. He's going to be on the team. Tyree, I love the front name guys. The question mark is, if we lose one of those guys, how strong is that room still look? We saw it today with no Jaquan, no Eddie Jackson, right?
Tuesday is cut down day from 90 to 53. And the next 2 weeks, the Bears are preparing for the season opener against the Green Bay Packers 16 days from now. That is when we will be talking to you next, September 10th, 3:25 kickoff at Soldier Field. Our thanks to our executive producer, Eric Ostrowski, Kevin Zepak, and Kendra Young. Our broadcast crew, Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer, and Jason McKee. Thanks to our guest, Matt Eberflus, quarterback 1, Justin Fields, and Courtney Cronin. And thank you for listening and for calling as well. Thank you to Pat, the designer. I'm Peggy Kusinski. Final score 24-21. Bears lose the preseason finale to the Bills. You have been listening to the Great Clips postgame show on the Chicago Bears Radio Network. As we say goodbye to our affiliates, we will welcome the rest of you to stand by for the postgame show coming up next.
Right on.
You've been listening to Bears football on the Bears Radio Network.
Here comes football.
The Bears Radio Network is brought to you in part by Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana, and Miller Lite. This is Bears football on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Here comes football. Here comes football. Thanks for listening to the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Excellence. It means going the extra mile. You know that Volvo cars speak to excellence. And at Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, going the extra mile starts and ends with their culture of care and thoughtfulness. Guys, it's Carmen, and I've seen firsthand how Orloff Volvo goes the extra mile every day for everyone. And the Orloff name attached to the Volvo name is perfect, and they're known for safety and reliability. Howard Orloff Volvo Cars, just off the Kennedy at Armitage in Chicago. Volvo for life.
Long week? It's time for a smooth Tito's handmade vodka cocktail. Staying in or going out, serving cocktails for two, or mixing drinks for the party. Barbecuing in the backyard, or snagging your favorite bar stool. No matter the occasion, just add Tito's to kick off the weekend just right. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and is naturally gluten-free. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Welcome to another wonderful Bears football night, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to raise up your flags, put your jerseys on, cheer, shout, and save on your gas. That's right, Bears fans save big on game days. Save 25 cents per gallon on Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline with the Fuel Rewards program. Yes, that's another touchdown to you all. Download the Fuel Rewards app to join and game on. Must be a Fuel Rewards member. Offer ends January 7, 2024. Limit 20 gallons. Other restrictions apply.
At Great Clips, we know you live a full life, which is why we're full of ways to make getting a great haircut easier. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details, so you can get the look you love from the skilled stylists at any Great Clip salon. Plus, with convenient online check-in and everyday great prices, you save time and money too. So even when you're not thinking about your next haircut, we are. And when you choose Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Download our app today.
Hey, Chicago fans. I'm Julio Costa of Costa Ivoni Injury Lawyers. And like all of you, I'm happy because football is back. We're looking forward to a great season full of many highlights, and I'm not afraid to say it, a trip to the big game. We're here to help fans everywhere with their injury-related needs. Chicago fans, we're ready to fight for you. Winning consistently isn't easy. Let us show
It's steinhoffels.com. Relax. It's Steinhoffels.
Peoria, Illinois, that wildly underrated peach of a place downstate, wants you to take its jobs. Okay, so their careers, really. High-paying ones at world-class companies. And there are hundreds of them just waiting for someone with as much talent as you to say, bleep it, I'm moving to Peoria. But that overabundance of opportunity isn't the only thing Peoria has going for it. To explore all the perks and to land your dream career, head to choosegreaterpeoria.org.
Touchdown, Chicago. Bill Jacobs Auto Group is all about commitment to excellence. As a third-generation family-run business, we tackle every day with passion and pride, just like our beloved team. Experience the Bill Jacobs way. Top-notch service is the name of the game. With a winning lineup of new and used vehicles, fair and upfront pricing, we're the dealership that scores big. Visit Bill Jacobs Auto Group today and drive home a winner. Bill Jacobs. The cars bring you in and the experience brings you back.
A new era of Chicago Bears football has begun, and ESPN Chicago is your new home for the Bears.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Welcome on in to the post-game show here on ESPN 1000 and the ESPN Chicago app. We're going to be hanging out with you till about 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN 1000. Then we will have first pitch of the White Sox and A's tonight on ESPN 1000. And then Jason McKee and I will stick around on the ESPN Chicago stream for you and continue to talk Bears after the Bears conclude the preseason with a loss to the Buffalo Bills, 24-21 today. But of course, not so concerned about the results, more concerned about what we saw on the field. And J-Mac, who was on the field, on the sidelines for the Bears broadcast, Give us some of your opening observations. Be the lead blocker like you were for so many years in the NFL.
Yeah, it left me in terms of especially I'll go with the offense first team offense. It left me wanting to see more again. We didn't get a good sample size of Justin Fields. Didn't have that many reps again. DJ Moore only had a limited amount of reps, but you see what he does every time he gets an opportunity. He makes an explosive play, just like we saw in week one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was good to see some of the offensive linemen get an opportunity. You saw Tyreek Carter in there, Leatherwood in there. Obviously, there's a lot of injuries along the offensive line. They had a couple today. So I think it was good that group got some live reps against a really solid Buffalo Bills defensive front. But wanted to see more. Defensively, saw some good things. We got to be better against the run. We've got to be better in terms of third down. I talked with Coach Matt Eberflus coming out of halftime. He said the biggest takeaway he had from the first half in terms of when that starting defense was that they had to get off the field on third down.
Yeah.
They converted some third and longs and stuff like that, and those things will come back to bite you in the butt come the regular season. So there's a lot of things they got to work on, but the good thing is we saw a lot of guys get an opportunity. Some guys made the most of it, and just like this game goes, some guys didn't.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the possible 53-man roster as cuts will come down on Tuesday. So, of course, that will be something that Bears fans will be very interested in. It's going to be a roster crunch. I mean, this is a good position for the Bears to be in. Last year, I'm not sure they were in as an advantageous spot because they have done a good job. Brian Poles, Ian Cunningham, Matt Eberflus in collecting talent, right? They've done a good job of actually putting the roster together now where some of these decisions are actually going to be difficult cuts. And I think some of the players who may not end up making the 53 for the Bears may be players who can find spots on other teams in the NFL. And that wasn't necessarily the case last year. So they've done a good job of infusing a lot of talent. We saw that on display here today as the Bears lose to the Bills at Soldier Field. You mentioned the first team offense still leaving a little bit to be desired. I thought, now I do want to play this because if you were listening on the postgame show when Matt Eberflus joined Jeff Joniak, I think one of the questions for a lot of people were, why did Justin Fields leave the game once the Bears were in the red zone on a drive he began and they had the ball inside the 10-yard line?
Well, that's just simple play count. We had him capped right there, and so it was his time to come out, and we converted there, and then we got Tyson in there.
So, listen, I'm not going to say that is untrue, but I wonder if you're buying what Matt Eberflus is selling, because by my count, it would have been 13 snaps that Justin Fields was in the game. That seems like an odd number to call as your snap count. I wonder if it had more to do with the hit he took on Ed Oliver and the fact that Doug Kramer was dealing with a hand issue at that point.
Yeah, I think it was, making sure that he's available come week one. And there's been a lot of injuries that happen. And, I think coach was like, hey, after that screen getting hit, I'm not going to put my quarterback in jeopardy. We'll finish this drive out with the young guy, Tyson, get more of an evaluation of him, and he moved forward. So, I don't know, even after that drive, I think Justin would have been out anyway.
Yes.
But I think that just was the tip of the iceberg in terms of getting him out early.
Yeah.
Don't take unnecessary hits, especially, it doesn't count in terms of your wins and losses. It counts for a lot of guys trying to make the roster.
Yeah.
But in terms of Justin, we know he's on the roster. It doesn't count for him.
Yeah, no, and I think that's probably, fine. The truth is, Matt Eberflus, the coaching staff, they're not really going to give us a whole lot, anything more than what they need to. And if that was in doubt at all you need to do is kind of look at their answers when it comes to injuries in regard to what the Bears have been dealing with specifically on the offensive line so far, which that's a concern right now. Again, it didn't help that Doug Kramer busted up his hand a little bit in today's game. So, which, by the way, I cannot remember a football team having three centers deal with hand injuries in less than 2 years. Is that insane or what?
It's insane. I mean, just the injuries, like
certainly.
As a whole, you talk about the centers.
Yeah.
And then you look at going forward, Noah Sewell got carted off during the game. Gabriel Huey he got injured. So it's just unfortunate that these injuries are happening right when the season is about to kick off, especially from guys that you're counting on. Now, Tevin Jenkins is out of the lineup. And, you like the one thing that I think Bears fans were excited about is that you had an offensive line, right, you felt like it was going to be a good product.
Gelling a little bit.
Yeah, you felt like they could gel. And was that the biggest strength of your football team? I'm not going to say that, but it was something you felt confident in terms of, You bring over Nate Davis, you move Tevin Jenkins to left guard where he's just playing left guard. Braxton Jones, second year in this system. You draft Darnell Wright. Cody Whitehair has moved the center, guy that's played a lot of football for Chicago Bears. And you say, hey, you know what? We're looking good. I feel good. I like what we have in front of Justin Fields, protecting him, making sure that, he's standing upright so he can make plays. And now all of a sudden, it's a complete 360. It's changed.
Yeah, we'll see what guys can heal up. It definitely sounds like from all the reports we're getting, Schefter, Biggs, pointing out that Tevin Jenkins and even Eberflus, even he admitted that it's a week-to-week deal, which, you wonder because generally that's he's not really willing to go there unless it is a serious injury. So it's certainly, I don't think I'm saying anything outlandish by saying I don't expect Tevin Jenkins to be ready for opening day. So that obviously is going to be something where you need to, whether it's Cody Whitehair is going to play there, going forward at least for a little while, and then how the dominoes fall after that, whether, we'll have to see how Doug Kramer can operate, as the center here. It's a concern right now. We'll have to see as we go forward over the next week or so what we start to see the offensive line, how it trickles out. And of course, Darnell Wright, who was inactive today because of the ankle that he's dealing with. So there's a lot of questions on this offensive line, which they have done a lot. They've put a lot of work in trying to improve, Jason. But unfortunately, these injuries have come, like you said, at a tough time. And then the big question, Nate Davis. What's going on with Nate Davis?
I don't know what's going on with Nate. Even through camp, I think I've seen him in pads one time during training camp. Didn't really see him a lot during the joint practices in Indy. Obviously, he didn't play in that game, didn't play in this game. And, it's just unfortunate, whatever he's dealing with. The unfortunate thing is, I want him to get healthy as a player, obviously, but at the same time, he's missing opportunities to gain chemistry with the offensive line, with the guys that is there. And this is a time, more than ever in which we need him in there.
Yeah.
It's so, hopefully he's available week one because we're definitely going to need him. But in terms of him having the getting back into game shape, understanding the playbook, because this is his first year in the system.
Yeah.
So he hasn't got that time.
It's a fair point. He's Jason McKee, longtime NFL fullback, longtime member of the Chicago Bears, here with you. He's also on the sidelines for all of the game broadcasts, so make sure you're obviously locked in to ESPN 1000 as we have all of your Bears games as the brand new home of the Chicago Bears. We also are your home of Chicago White Sox, and if you're looking for the pregame coverage tonight, it is available on WGN Radio. We'll be live with White Sox first pitch coming your way at 6:05 tonight. But Jason McKee and I are breaking down the Bears' loss to the Bills. The preseason has concluded. We're going to be talking a lot about what exactly you saw, what you're hoping to see from the Bears as we enter the regular season here in a couple of weeks with the cutdown day on Tuesday. Taking your calls at 312-332-3776. Let's start with Chase, who's on the south side. Chase, what's going on, man? You're on with J-Mac and Mel on the post-game show tonight.
Hey, Mel, what's going on? J-Mac, what's happening, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Not much, man. Hey, J-Mac, I got to ask you a question. So my thing is, I know everybody is, really gives Luke Getsy his props, and I agree that he has done a good job as far as, his game, his play scheme. But there's times when I get a little frustrated when I don't understand why, and I just don't get why doesn't he move Justin at the pocket? Why doesn't he call more bootleg? Why doesn't he move Justin around the pocket, get him in the rhythm? It's like Justin is one of these type of quarterbacks that needs to get in the rhythm. You got to get him in the floor of the game where you got to move him. He's a quarterback that you like right now. He still struggles with processing. So as of right now, I would say cut the field in half. Get him quick, move him out the pocket, run bootleg. It's like I don't understand some of the plays he called, and this is my problem last season where it just seems like he I don't know if it's that he don't trust him or it's something about his play calling that really confuses me. Because I remember Justin's rookie season, and I know everybody was on Nagy on how he called plays, but I've seen some highlights where Justin made some dying throws where he made some throws where you say, wow, he can throw the football, and it just seems like something where Getsy calls plays where it's almost like he's pulling back and handcuffing Justin from really doing something. I don't know. Can you elaborate on that, J-Mac? Because I just really don't understand Getsy's, game plan when it comes to field. It's just confusing to me.
And I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Chase. Appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate it. That's a great question, Chase. I think when you look at it as a whole, right, and I'm glad you went back to last year, because last year there were some things that I honestly felt that Getsy could have did more of in terms of, getting Justin easy completions to make him feel comfortable, to get that confidence up. And those are things, like Chase said, you get him on a sprint out where you give him a half field read where he has a progression of just, 1 and 2, a 2 receiver progression. Also, easy completions, the receivers running slants and hitch routes, something where the ball just comes out and it's an easy completion to get his confidence up. So, I think a lot of this right now is just they're not giving away too much because it's the preseason.
Agreed.
If you look at what he's done so far, they've run a lot of boot action off of their outside zone, getting Justin the easy completion, getting that ball to, whoever's in the flat, whether it be a tight end or a running back, and then, giving them that type of half field read. But at the same time, he's also done that with the quick screens. We saw that in game 1 where he just, get through the screen to Khalil Herbert, who took it a distance. Also one to DJ Moore, who took it a distance. So, I think he does got to make sure that he does whatever he does, he makes sure Justin's comfortable with it. So I hope they have those conversations moving forward when they're game planning for Green Bay, that they say, hey, you know what, Justin, what do you like? And what don't you like? What do you feel comfortable with? You got to have those honest conversations.
Listen, and you could correct me if you disagree, but from everything I've heard Luke Getsy talk about, I do feel like they're having those conversations, right? And it's one of those things where you get an opportunity to talk with Justin Fields, after the game, during the week at times. So you're going to be able to give us a little bit of insight as to, how he feels things are going as well throughout the season, which I can't wait for. And so, but I also I don't think Justin Fields is without fault here. How does the game start? They go 3 and out, right? Khalil Herbert gets stuffed on their first play of the game. The second play of the game is an incompletion to Cole Kmet, but it's a low throw, right?
Yeah.
That's an easy throw where when Chase says, I want to see Luke Getsy get Justin Fields into a rhythm. Well, when there's easy throws there too, you want 5-yard completion makes third down much easier. It's hard to get a guy in a rhythm when you're going 3 and out for your first couple of drives, right?
Yeah.
And so part of it's on Luke Getsy, part of it's on Justin Fields. He needs to hit those bunnies too.
Yeah, that's a layup. You talked about Kmet, and that's a play that he's got to hit. He's right there. He's right in front of you. That's a rrhythm throw. That's all timing. Whether it's a 3-step drop on your 3rd step, that ball's coming out, should be accurate, easy completion to get you in rhythm. Those are drive setters.
Talk about it too. It's one of those things where it's so different when it's 3rd and 2 as opposed to 3rd and 9. In the NFL, it's 3rd and 2 is you're expecting to get that more times than not. 3rd and 9, you're gonna have to, you need a special play oftentimes from either the quarterback or and then 3rd and 9, he throws a ball to DJ Moore where DJ Moore is covered, and that's the difference though. It's the play before that kind of sets up that situation.
Yeah, you're 100%. Your playbook, it just gets more and more limited. Third and long, 3rd and 9. There's not a lot of plays that you can, and the defense knows, hey, they're going to play the sticks. You know what I'm saying? They're going to play up. They're going to keep everything in front of them and make the tackle and then get you off the field. So, the key is too, I think, I don't know what their philosophy is or their identity is. And Getsy says they're a physical team, but I think you have to try to get 1st and 2nd down. If I was the coach, my philosophy would be, hey, you know what? 1st and 2nd down, we have to get at least 6 yards. I need 2 downs to get 6 yards. So we're always in 3rd and short.
Yes.
And when we're in 3rd and short, now it gives me an opportunity, right, to have Justin. Now he's a threat to the defense because of his legs, but he's also a threat to the defense because of the pass.
Yeah.
So now I put the defense in the bind. I got them guessing, and now I'm dictating to the defense, which is key. If you're an offense that dictates to the defense, you're going to be a great offense.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about it a lot this year. I guarantee it. If you can get to 3rd and short more times than not, you get the defense. Like you said too, that's where someone like Justin Fields, his athleticism is going to be unstoppable if he can take advantage of those, on 2nd down and those short throws. So it's a give and take here, Chase. It's not all on Luke Getsy. Some of it's got to be on Justin Fields taking those short gimme plays. And hopefully, as we continue to progress, I think that's when we say we're hoping to see a little more from the offense. This is where, when you only have 13 snaps or whatever it was intended to be, where you kind of go, you don't get to make a whole lot of grand conclusions from these, these short drives.
Yeah, Justin had 20 total snaps in preseason. So I asked him after the game, I said, hey, 20 total snaps. How ready do you feel for week 1? And obviously they still got time to get ready. But in terms of him seeing live action, I asked him, how ready are you? And, he said he's ready, and I know he's ready because he wants to play. He wants to get to week 1, tired of the preseason. But in terms of being ready, there's, like we talked about, offensive line, who's going to be in the offensive line. Like, you didn't get a lot of live reps. So how ready can you be?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And the only thing is, we'll just have to get to opening day and kind of see how it is from there. And there's no doubt, I think every team knows there's going to be a feeling out process, and you're going to have to grow into it as the season progresses. But that's kind of the NFL that we're in nowadays, right? The first 2 or 3 games, they almost serve as the actual preseason in this new NFL with 17-game weeks and 3-game preseasons and all that. So 312-332-3776 if you want to talk with us. We're hanging out with you until 6 o'clock when White Sox baseball, first pitch between the Sox and A's, will be coming your way at 6:05 tonight. If you want the pregame coverage, they're on WGN up until 6 o'clock again when White Sox baseball will take over on ESPN 1000, and we will move to the stream on the ESPN Chicago app. Mellor and McKee on the post-game show on ESPN 1000.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
The biggest pro football contests in Las Vegas is back again for its 5th year with $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Only at Circa Sports. Enter in Vegas, play from anywhere with 2 ways to win and no rake. Play the Million Pro Football Contest with quarterly payouts and 100% payback. Pick a winner with the Survivor Contest. Select one team each week with no point spread. Get your share of $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Visit circasports.com for details.
Hey guys, it's Sylvie. I love summer, my favorite time of year, but it all ends when you open up that energy bill and the pain. I've seen it before, but I got to tell you, I just opened up my ComEd bill and my energy bills went down when everybody else's went up. I first bought new windows for my kids' room, for my master bedroom, for the kitchen, and then I bought new windows for my family room. And I've seen the savings firsthand. And right now, you get 50% off any style window, including bows, bays, double hung, and sliders. Plus, put 0% down, 0 payments, 0% interest for 24 months. So maintain your chill, lower your energy bill. Act now. Save money all the way around by calling my friends at Window Nation at 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Do what I did. Go with the best customer service, and let them know that Sylvie sent you.
Hey, it's Adam Abdallah. After a long, grueling day of talking sports and other nonsense, there's nothing that helps me and my stomach like a stop at Fry the Coop. We're talking about the best chicken sandwiches this side of the Mississippi. I'd go further, like this side of Hawaii, but they're just being modest. My favorite is the spicy honey butter chicken sandwich. I also go with the Chicago hot chicken sandwich and their chicken and waffles. It's not just the sandwiches that keep me coming back. It's the feeling of happiness and the beef fat fries. I don't know how they do it, but they even make this cynical dude happy. Fry the Coop.
If your roof isn't standing up to the elements like it used to, visit TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com. If your windows are letting in too much wind, TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com. If you have a project that needs more than a few hours on the weekend, TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com. I'm Eric S., and our message is simple. We do whatever exterior projects you need done. Professional installation, top materials, and excellent communication throughout the process. We want your complete and total satisfaction. TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com.
The Peggy and Dion Show is having our Fantasy Football League, and it's for the women fans only. Our friends at Advantage Acura invite you to sign up now for the draft on August 31st at 7 p.m. Register now at ESPNChicagoContest.com. Illinois residents only. Brought to you by Advantage Acura.
Welcome back to Bears Postgame. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Mellor, and Pat the Designer on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Jeff Mellor, Jason McKee, hanging out with you, wrapping up a Bears loss and a Bears preseason, the second under Matt Eberflus as head coach. We're hanging out here until 6 o'clock, and then you'll get White Sox baseball as the White Sox host the A's tonight at Guaranteed Rate Field. First pitch coming your way at 6:05 tonight. After this short segment here, we're going to switch over to the stream, and Jason and I will hang out with you and talk some Bears on the ESPN Chicago app for all those out who want to give us your first reaction to the conclusion of the Bears preseason. They finish at 1-2, but again, record, what does it mean? Do you ever care about the record when you were playing, J-Mac?
Not in preseason.
No.
I cared about making sure I was on the roster, making sure I took care of my business, making sure I played well.
Yes. And that's I think that's the way most people approach it. Of course, you always want to get the win if it's close, but the reality is there's some scouting going on amongst. And you know what? I will, for the folks who may have missed it, Ryan Poles joined Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer in the booth during the third quarter, and he talked about, what they're dealing with as they have to get set to cut down to the 53-man roster on Tuesday.
Just talking about the process moving forward here, our pro staff does an amazing job watching all the other games this preseason and identifying guys that potentially could help us. So we have that board set up, and we'll continue to work through these third preseason games. And, if there's opportunities to claim, we will. If there's trade opportunities, we'll look at those to see if they make sense for a football team, both now and down the road too. So it's a fun process to go through, but it's very different than last year. It's going to be harder to find those players that are going to help us.
So there you go, Bears general manager with Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer in the booth while Jason McKee was on the sidelines during the Bears game today. He gave us a little bit of a nugget there where I do want to go through the Bears roster right now, and J-Mac and I on the stream at 6 o'clock, we'll talk about who we think could be the members of this 53-man roster. But the reality is, too, the Bears do still have that first waiver priority when it comes to claims because they did have the worst record in the league last year. And so that could end up being very valuable and could also dramatically shape the 53-man roster. I know a lot of people may be going through and saying, okay, I assume this guy will be, one of the 5 or 6 edge rushers we expect them to keep. But the reality is, if there's a player who ends up being either a cap casualty or just a guy who the Bears like, that could also shift the thinking.
Yeah, and the scouts are always evaluating. They're always trying to find ways to make this team better. And you heard Pose, like they're gonna, if there's a guy that can make them better and it makes sense towards the cap and money wise, they'll bring him in. So, everybody's gonna be watching these last preseason games because there are gonna be a lot of teams that they're gonna want to keep guys, but they're not gonna be able to. And some of these teams, when these guys get released from these other teams, they could be a fit here. They could help us out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, what's going to transpire between now and when they make the roster cut downs. It's going to be a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys switching uniforms. But hey, our goal is let's get better, and we're going to have to. I think there's, offensive linemen they'll be scouring the waiver wire to check out, who's available, who can help us, because right now it's a serious situation. It's something that we can't overlook. A couple of weeks we'll be lining up against Green Bay, and who's going to be in front of Justin, making sure he's upright.
And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, Jordan Love still doing some stuff, making some Bears fans a little bit nervous with a back shoulder throw to Christian Watson for a touchdown earlier today, which already has some Bears fans coiling up in the field position, getting concerned that the Packers have found yet another solution at quarterback. But that's something we'll talk about a little bit later on as well. Again, 312-332-3776. If you want to jump on in and join us, talk a little bit about the Bears. What do you want to see? Who do you hope makes the 53-man roster? And trade rumors abound, not just for players the Bears could be adding, but is there somebody on the Bears roster who wants out? We'll tell you about it here next, right here on the Bears post-game show, the post-game show. I'm Jeff Meller. He's Jason McKee on ESPN 1000.
The new home of the Chicago Bears.
You've waited all year and the time has finally arrived. Yes, college football is back. And so are the traditions, the tailgates, and the great offers from DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you're ready. Kick off the season with DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code WMVP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Only at DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook with code WMVP. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and older, Illinois only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
If you've been involved in an accident, yeah, you're going to have questions. You're going to have bills, and you're going to have medical issues. But you will also have me. I'm attorney Tony Ivoni. Visit me at calltony.com or call 708-400-0000. You don't have to struggle alone against the insurance company. I'm here to fight for you. Visit calltony.com or call me at 708-4-million because you deserve better.
Parent Petroleum, its customers, and the Parent Petroleum Foundation work together to support local charities in an effort to give back to the community. During their annual Pump-a-thon event, with every gallon of gas purchased in the month of August, fuel retailers donate a portion of their sales to 4 great charities: Folds of Honor, Living Well Cancer Resource Center, Casa Kane County, and the Chicago Blackhawks Foundation. Be on the lookout for Pump-a-thon signage at a participating gas station near you. Learn more at parentpetroleum.com.
Sure, the starters may only play a drive, but preseason is still football, and man, have we missed it. And if you're searching for some late-round fantasy flyers, there's no better research than watching every play at Twin Peaks. Have the first overall pick? Make sure you select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more info.
Golf's biggest party is back. Live Golf returns to Chicago at Rich Harvest Farm September 22nd through 24th. Many of the sport's biggest names, including Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Cam Smith, will battle in Live Golf's unique high-stakes league. And don't miss the post-round performances by 2 Grammy Award-winning artists, the legendary Nelly on Friday and the incredible Tiesto on Saturday. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at livegolf.com. That's LIVgolf.com. A new bathroom. It has to be a showpiece. You need professionals. Prestige Kitchen and Bath is where you should go. The personal designers at Prestige will listen to your ideas and concerns and then put their creativity to work on a detailed design estimate. Their showroom has the most exciting, up-to-date products to work with within your budget. Right now, remodel with Prestige Kitchen and Bath and get a free shower faucet ensemble of $1,500 value. Give your bath some prestige. Start now at PrestigeKitchenBath.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
The new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. More Bears postgame is coming up. WMVP, WSHE HD2, Chicago. Kick up.
Jeff Meller, Jason McKee back on the Bears post-game show on ESPN Chicago, the app. We're hanging out with you, talking about a Bears loss to the Buffalo Bills as the preseason concludes. And what was curious, I was taking the game in at home, watching it on my television, and J-Max got the sweet sideline view, taking it all in from there. And curiously enough, though, in the middle of the game, somewhere around, I don't know if it was around the first quarter, start of the second, their word came via a Jeremy Fowler tweet that Trevis Gipson, who has been basically slotted in amongst the third teamers on the defensive ends, somewhere around 5th or 6th on the depth chart, depending on where you place him versus Terrell Lewis. And during the game, we got word from Jeremy Fowler that he had received permission from the Bears front office to seek a trade. Now, Trevis Gipson, reminds you, he's in his final year of his contract. Last year, he only had 3 sacks. A lot of people were looking for him to provide more pressure because in his second season, he had 7 sacks for the Bears. And, last year, I don't think he really gave the Bears exactly what they were hoping for, but nevertheless, the entire defense kind of lacked pressure.
Nobody gave you anything last year that you were looking for defensively.
When Jaquan Brisker was your leading sacker with 4, that's a problem.
Right, when you have to bring secondary pressure to generate pressure on the quarterback and turn that pressure into sacks, that's never a good thing. And we saw, where they ranked last year defensively. It was terrible, and that's why there was, so many changes, so many moves in free agency, but Trevis Gipson, he's been a man out there. He's had a good preseason.
Another strip sack today.
Yeah, another strip sack. And it's preseason. But, I mean, I'm looking at his totals he's had this preseason. He's had 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and 1 forced fumble. He's out there. And I know he's not playing against starting caliber offensive tackle. He's going against a second and third string offensive tackle. But he's doing exactly what you're asking him to do. Show us. Prove to us that you can get to the quarterback. Prove to us that you can be a force on defense. Prove to us that you can get pressure. You can generate takeaways. And he's done that. And for me, just looking at who they have, you're looking at him, he's behind Dominique Robinson. He's behind Terrell Lewis. Like, it's just, I don't know. Do they value, my question is this, and it's something that I'm, been wondering for a while now. Do they value the upside of Dominique Robinson more than what they've seen from a Trevis Gipson? It makes you question that.
Yeah, no, and it leads you to believe now Robinson's been getting out onto the field usually before Gipson has for the most part in the preseason. You wonder, okay, is that directly because he is obviously in front of him on the depth chart, or do they kind of want to see what Robinson can provide against some better talent? That's one of those things where we're not in the meetings, so we don't know exactly what the thought process is, right? Like same thought process behind Tyson Bagent today, right?
Yeah.
Did he go out there today second after Justin Fields merely because he's already moved ahead of PJ Walker on the depth chart, or do the coaches want to see what he's capable of against some better talent out there, and so they want to challenge him a little bit, and they kind of have a better understanding already of what PJ Walker can do against those, right? So we don't quite know. We won't know until the roster cuts are made and the official depth chart is given. But it's a fair question. I've yet to we've heard a lot about how they like Dominique Robinson and what he can provide. He's bigger than Trevis Gipson is. But Gipson has been, at least in the NFL, he's gotten home 7 times in a season, whereas Dominique Robinson, I was just talking to you in the commercial break, he had 1.5 sack against the 49ers in slop last year with Trey Lance under center. And, while everyone got excited about that one game, never really heard from him again on the stat sheet last year.
Yeah, and it's a position that he's still developing in. It's a position that he transitioned to his later years in college. Here's a guy who's only played this position, I think this would be going on his 3rd year, if I'm not mistaken. So he hasn't played it. And, the biggest thing for him is, I think with the addition of Yannick Ngakoue, I think that bodes well for Dominique Robinson, because now you can learn and be mentored from a pass rusher who's done it at an elite level for a long time. But at the same time, like, you look at his preseason compared to Trevis Gipson's, right? And obviously there's value there. Trevis is showing you that he has the ability to get to the quarterback. Yeah, he had a down year last year, but he's showing you now, like, he's hungry. He's vying for a roster spot here. And if you do, if they are going to cut him, and we talked about this before, you can't just cut him and cut bait and not get nothing in return for a guy like this. Like, he's going to have value depending on how much value is out there. I don't know, but you just can't let him go.
Yeah, I would think if for whatever reason, if Trevis Gipson was on the bubble, I would imagine that he's somebody who, if he was released, another team in the league, looking at his pedigree and also looking at this productive preseason that he's just had, I think he would be claimed, or at least very quickly signed by some other team. So Matt Eberflus, during the post-game portion, not on the Bears Radio Network, but actually in the post-game presser, was asked specifically, there was a report that Trevis Gipson got permission to go seek a trade. How does he fit in, and what is your stance on if a player wants to go do that? And this was Matt Eberflus's response. Quote, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know much about that. I know that just came out. I can just say this. Trevis is an outstanding young man, and he works his tail off, and he's been great since we've been here. He had some good plays out there today. So, I mean, a very vague non-answer. He didn't say that he hasn't been allowed to seek a trade.
Right.
But again, it's a weird situation. I could understand if Trevis Gipson's a little bit frustrated because he feels like he's farther back on the depth chart and he thinks he can make an impact. But from the same perspective, the Bears did not have any pass rushers last year. And it's hard to believe that you're right. Ngakoue brings a lot to the table.
He does.
But J-Mac, you need multiple pieces to rush the passer in this league. There's going to be injuries. And, I've been impressed with Terrell Lewis, but at the same time, let's open it up here. like how many guys on the edge are they going to keep? I think it's whether it's 5 or 6. I think, we know Ngakoue's on the team.
Yep.
We know DeMarcus Walker, who was inactive again today, is on the team. And then you get down to Rasheem Green started today. Dominique Robinson, who we've been talking about, and then Terrell Lewis and Trevis Gipson. I mean, that's 6 names right there. Are you going to keep 5 or 6? I think they're all probably going to – I would put them on the roster.
Yeah, I'd definitely put them on the roster. And, it's a situation where the preseason is tricky, right? Because, yes, football is a team sport, but in preseason, it's individualized. Honestly.
No, you're right.
I mean, I'm going to be brutally honest. I really, like I said before, preseason, I didn't care if we won or lost. If my buddy did well, I was happy for him. But I've got to play well as an individual. I got to be selfish in preseason because I'm fighting for my livelihood. So in terms of Trevis Gipson, he's at the lower end of the depth chart. He's just trying to put himself in position to be playing in the NFL this year, whether it's for the Bears or somebody else. And he's got to have good tape to do that. So like you said, those names you mentioned, all of those guys I think are roster worthy. It just, I think it just depends on a couple other positions too in terms of, how many linebackers you're going to keep,
Yes.
how many corners you're going to keep. That all plays a factor.
Yeah, no, it's a giant, math problem here. So defensive tackles, Billings, Justin Jones, Trevon Dexter, Zach Pickens. I think they're all locks, right?
100%.
Is there anyone, I don't know, is there anyone we're missing who's in that bunch who you have to add to that? I mean, generally you're going to see 4 defensive tackles on most NFL teams.
And I would look. I mean, practice squad. There's 16 spots.
Yes,
So Travis Bell, I think, is going to be one of those practice squad guys. I don't really. Andrew Brown, I haven't seen him do too much. So
yeah, I think Travis Bell's the name you mentioned. Ryan Poles has been effusive in his praise about him all season since they drafted him, and you see that he definitely is a guy who you probably want to have him on the roster. Hopefully, the practice squad he can make it through, but it's hard to envision him being on the 53.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think he. I mean, here's the guy, right? So Travis Bell, young guy at Kennesaw State, first player ever drafted at Kennesaw State, developmental guy. A guy who when you're putting guys on this practice squad, these are guys that you want to develop, but these are also guys that eventually you're gonna have to count on some of these guys throughout the season with the amount of injuries that take place in the NFL. So you want to make sure you get good guys that fit your scheme, fit your system, that you can develop, that you think could come in and make plays. So I think Travis Bell is one of those guys. Defensive end, we just talked about. I think Jalen Harris, he's done some good things in preseason. Besides last week, he's the guy that got ejected for throwing a punch after the play. I think that may hurt him a little bit.
Does that seal your fate, though? I mean,
I don't know. I think it's a young guy made a mistake. Obviously, you got to be smarter. The refs are always going to see the second guy committing the action. But before that, he had, he did some good things as well. I think DeAnthony Jones is another intriguing.
All right, now you're just throwing. All right, you're throwing more names at me. I was trying to whittle it down here.
I'm just saying these. I'm just saying in terms of practice squad.
Okay.
Because now you look at it, the practice squad is 16 spots now.
Yes.
When I played, it was only 5.
Yes.
So now you can have more guys that you want to see more of. You want to develop.
No, definitely. And then it gets tricky because, and maybe this is where we go into the Tyson, the Bagent conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think they send him out there second today.
Yeah.
I think he's made the team, and my reasoning is because I think you're going to keep 3 quarterbacks this year. Most teams they have the new rule this year where on game day, the 47th man can be a third quarterback who's not going to count against your 46. And what that allows you to do essentially is as long as you're carrying him on your 53-man roster, that gives you an opportunity to carry an extra player, an emergency quarterback, which is not going to hurt you on game day when it comes to putting this math, this math problem together. So that's why I think it just behooves the Bears to keep Bagent around, because we've seen enough here where he has to have piqued the interest around the league, I would think, J-Mac, right? He's done enough where if you try and sneak him through to the practice squad, no chance. Some team is going to be like, yeah, we saw he looked pretty good at moments. We're going to go ahead and snag him. So, and you've paid PJ Walker. I don't think the Bears necessarily need to come to a conclusion for, in the next couple of weeks about who the actual backup is. Hey, keep both guys around. And, we've paid PJ Walker. He's done it in this league before. So if we have to, we can turn to a veteran, but we've also got a guy in Bagent who we can develop a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And the thing is too, there was just being on the sideline. I mean, as
Mhm.
soon as Justin went out, Bagent was already warming up. He
Mhm.
was already next up.
He knew.
So yeah, he knew. He was as soon as before Fields got taken out on the last drive in the red zone, Bagent was already warming up. So he was, hey, I'm the number 2 guy going in today. But with what he's done, I mean, you look at his stat line today. I think it's a little bit diluted a little bit because of the drop pass from Carlson.
Yeah.
That should have been another touchdown as well.
Absolutely.
That ball was beautiful. He threw that post with anticipation. He put it right on the money. And I'm looking at Carlson. I'm like, man, he tried to dive for that. You didn't even have to dive. That ball was perfectly placed.
Yeah.
So that would have increased his stat line. But to me, it's just the way that he carries himself. And everybody that I've talked to, all the guys that I've talked to and asked them about Tyson Bagent as a player, as a person, how he conducts himself, they've all said the same thing. From day one, he's coming to this, this organization, and he hasn't acted like a rookie. He's been poised from day one. He's been confident. He's been humble. He's been hardworking. And they said, like, it's not too big for him. And even though he went to a smaller school, you look at, he was there for 4 years, and there's, he threw a lot of passes. So he has a lot of experience. You know what I mean? So, and that's been on display because he just looks comfortable back there. And that ball just comes out quick. Like he throws the ball with conviction. He knows where he's going. There was a pass he threw over the middle to Simba Webster.
Yes.
And I mean, that ball, it looked like it was going to be picked, but that ball got there in a hurry. And he makes those type of plays, like from a guy that's been doing it for a long time.
I'm not going to lie. I don't want Bears fans to come after me and say this is blasphemy. Understand what I'm saying here. The poise and the accuracy sometimes that Tyson Bagent goes out there with in the short periods of time. I wish Justin would be a little bit more accurate in that manner. Now, listen, I'll take Justin every time right now. But like you said, that calm, poised, composure in the pocket. There's something to be said for, you said the 50 games in college that he played. If anything, maybe my takeaway is if you're a young quarterback out there and you've got the opportunity somewhere to go play immediately, don't dismiss it out of hand for a big program where you're going to have to go and be, the second, third, fourth guy, because there's something to be said for getting those reps week in and week out.
Yeah, and he's been productive. I mean, if you pull up, and I know it's high school and college, it's the NFL, but if you pull up his stats from high school, they were off the charts.
Yeah.
College, they were off the charts. He still holds the record for all NCAA divisions, 159 touchdown passes. It's off the charts. Like he's done a lot. He's made plays at every level. Is it lower level? Yes, but he's showing you, right, that some of these things are translating to the NFL game. And the fact that, you add the fact that you're seeing his mobility. 2 weeks in a row, he scored rushing touchdowns. And on that rushing touchdown he had today, the thing that I really took away from it is initially he's manipulating the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his eyes downfield, still looking to throw. And then he made the determination, okay, nothing's open, I'm going to take off.
Yeah.
Like that. Like processing that fast.
Yes.
And as a rookie, and obviously the game's a lot faster than when he was at Shepherd University. Like there's something to be said about that.
It's so well said. It's surprising that a player who's coming from a Division II program who had all those reps, usually what happens is when you have that resume, right, usually you're a guy who's like you're my size. You're 5'10", you're 170 pounds, and you just can't compete at that level.
Right.
But you're Tyson Bagent, you're like, this dude's 6'3". He's listed at 215.
Yeah.
You said it. He's got that mobility when he gets out of the pocket, and the eyes are downfield. It really is impressive. So I don't think there's any chance if I don't think the Bears are going to do it. But if they tried to sneak him through to the practice squad, I would be concerned that some other team would snap him up.
Man, and just think. Quarterbacks, right? They're hard to find. Trust me, I know. We know as Bears fans.
Yeah,
I know.
we
all lived it. But when you have an interesting prospect like Bagent, right? That's something you just don't cut away. You just cut loose, because he's not going to make it through on the practice.
Yeah, there'll be some team around the league where you look at and say, all right, who's got an older vet? Hell, they've got Zach Wilson, but the Jets might be like, hey, Aaron Rodgers is only going to be here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
There's
going to be a lot of guys. If you try to put him on the practice squad, there are going to be a lot of guys, a lot of teams vying for his services because he's shown you some things, right? And is he a finished product? By no means. No, he's not. Is he polished, in terms of where you want as a passer? By no means he isn't. But he is a guy, right, that has a skill set that a lot of starting NFL quarterbacks today have. He has the mobility, the accuracy, the anticipation. He has the poise. Like when he's in there, he's calm. Like it doesn't seem too big for him.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I think that's the first thing. If you're a young quarterback and you're not out there looking like a deer in the headlights, well, then that's a start, and we can build from that.
It's the man who sounds like he should be coaching a high school football team, if ever I heard it. Congrats on the win, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Jason McKee here with me, Jeff Meller. Usually Pat, the designer, is going to be hanging out with us as well for the post-game show during the season. Pat sat in for Yurko today with Peggy, so he took off, but he'll be with us during the season, and we'll be breaking it down for you. 312-332-3776. All right, so Bagent is on the 53-man roster for Jason and me.
100%.
We'll see if the Bears follow through. We think they will. How about the running back room? We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back right here on ESPN 1000.
The new home of the Bears.
Hey, man, what are you eating?
It's Fry the Coop.
Wait, what is it?
Fry the Coop.
What's it called?
It's called Fry the Coop, dude. They make the best chicken sandwich this side of the Mississippi. You haven't tried it?
So they sell chicken?
Are you even listening? Yes, it's Fry the Coop. They sell chicken and happiness. It's thebomb.com, as the kids say. They're up in Lincoln Park, Oak Lawn, Elmhurst, Tinley Park, Westtown, Portage Park, and Darien, and Prospect Heights. It's the best chicken sandwiches you will ever have, period. Just Google it. Fry the Coop.
When you need a big project done on your home, one of the first things you do is talk to friends who've had work done recently. You ask things like, were they reliable? Did it cost you a lot? Are you happy with their work? This is Eric Guess from Total Roofing and Construction. Every contractor brags about the deals they offer. At Total Roofing and Construction, the prices are the same, but the service is the total package. TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com. Total satisfaction since 1985. That's TotalRoofingAndConstruction.com.
What's better than a sports bar? A sports and betting bar. Video slots, horse racing, and sports betting. Only Club Hawthorne has it all. Hundreds of big screen TVs, daily food and drink specials, and the old school high quality service you expect from a family owned business. Hawthorne has over a dozen newly remodeled betting bars throughout Chicagoland, from Crestwood to Joliet to Hoffman Estates and Villa Park. Find a local betting bar near you at HawthorneBettingBars.com. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER to get help.
Parent Petroleum, its customers, and the Parent Petroleum Foundation work together to support local charities in an effort to give back to the community. During their annual Pump-a-thon event, with every gallon of gas purchased in the month of August, fuel retailers donate a portion of their sales to 4 great charities: Folds of Honor, Living Well Cancer Resource Center, Casa Kane County, and the Chicago Blackhawks Foundation. Be on the lookout for Pump-a-thon signage at a participating gas station near you. Learn more at parentpetroleum.com.
Sure, the starters may only play a drive, but preseason is still football, and man, have we missed it. And if you're searching for some late-round fantasy flyers, there's no better research than watching every play at Twin Peaks. Have the first overall pick? Make sure you select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more info.
Golf's biggest party is back. Live Golf returns to Chicago at Rich Harvest Farm September 22nd through 24th. Many of the sport's biggest names, including Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Cam Smith, will battle in Live Golf's unique high-stakes league. And don't miss the post-round performances by 2 Grammy Award-winning artists, the legendary Nelly on Friday and the incredible Tiesto on Saturday. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at livegolf.com. That's LIVgolf.com.
Welcome back to Bears Postgame. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer on the new home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago.
Jeff Meller, Jason McKee, hanging out with you until probably about 7 o'clock tonight here on the ESPN Chicago app, breaking down the Bears preseason finale. Bears fall 24-21 to the Bills today at Soldier Field. But Tyson Bagent went in second today, and that was probably the biggest takeaway because he may have made himself a comfortable spot as the backup quarterback. But again, I don't think we'll get any clarity until probably game week, J-Mac. Until they actually release the depth chart, I think they're going to be playing coy with us a little bit. I don't think Matt Eberflus is going to give us any actual final determination about who the backup is.
Information is hard to come by.
Yes.
And they got it sealed up there at Hallis. The funny thing is from Coach Eberflus' press conference this week when asked about Cole Kmet, I guess something happened with Cole Kmet. They said he was carted off at practice.
Yes.
And they kept asking him, hey, how's Cole? And he said, hey, he's normal. Cole's normal. So they're tight-lipped, man. And it's tough, which they should be. They don't want to leak out information. They want to keep things within the family. But us as media, we keep doing keep trying to pry and get the information that we need to give to our listeners.
The best is there was one answer where Matt Eberflus even referenced, I don't have to tell you till September 6th, and so we probably won't. So that's when we'll get all the actual information, when the league mandates that you have to give some sort of injury report. So that's when we will get the actual tangible information. But until then, we will speculate a little bit here and there. I do want to talk a little bit more about some trade rumors as well, but I mentioned the running back room. And as we're kind of going through the 53-man roster, J-Mac, the Bears, Travis Homer is a guy who's a good third down back, good special teams player. But they've also signed Deontay Foreman, and they did that before the draft, right? So it's like, I don't know if they knew they were going to have an opportunity to go in and scoop and draft Roschon Johnson. But this is interesting because most NFL teams, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, Deontay Foreman, and Kari Blasingame, I think those would be your four. But Travis Homer, again, like I said, he's that third down back special teamer, and he can return some kicks. So are they going to keep five? I mean, what do you think? How do you think that running back room shapes up?
So
I haven't even mentioned Robert Burns, your guy.
Yeah, that's my guy too, man. He played well today. I think I think they're going to keep four backs, and I think if they do keep Travis Homer, which I think they will, they're going to just value him as a four-phase special teams guy.
Okay.
Kari Blasingame is going to be designated as a fullback. Teams have only carried one fullback. Even when I was here, they only carried one fullback. So Travis Homer is going to be that special teams guy. I think the interesting thing is Deontay Foreman's going to be here. Khalil's going to be here. Roschon's going to be here, obviously. But I think the thing that we got to look at is, like today, Roschon went in before Deontay Foreman. If you notice, like right after Khalil, got his reps, Roschon went in.
Yes.
So I think the interesting thing is, who's going to be the number two back? I think that's going to what is the rotation going to look like? The good thing is, you've got a lot of talent and a lot of ability in that running back room. So I'm excited about that.
Now, here's the thing. Khalil Herbert is explosive, undeniably. He's got that ability to break off a long one and take it to the house, right? But I'll note the drop ball when Justin, I think, put a little too much. It was kind of like you could put fault on both parties, right? Maybe 50-50. Justin, I thought, put a little too much heat on it for that short, that short dump off pass. But at the same time, like that's something that you were great at. I'll not, that's one thing I always remember is you coming out of the backfield. Like, look, you'd make the catch. You might not be able to break it off for a long one.
Not as fast as Khalil Herbert.
But you were going to make the catch when the ball was in your vicinity. Khalil Herbert, and the same thing too, like it reminded me, he drops that ball, and even on the screen touchdown pass that he took to the house, he didn't secure that ball cleanly, right? Yeah. Like he had to double catch it. And so I was texting with Waddle earlier today during the game, and I was saying, like, listen, I think Roschon Johnson, honestly, by season's end, I'm not going to be surprised if he's your starting running back.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, he's shown a lot, and Tom Thayer raves about his pass protection ability. I think he's going to be a good pass protector. I haven't seen enough to determine, is he that elite as a pass protector? But he's shown me some things, right? We knew he was tough. We knew he could run between the tackles. We knew he could run the ball on the perimeter. But he's shown us some things in the passing game as well. Being able to catch those checkdowns, like you talked about, like to have that versatility. If you want to be an NFL back, you got to have that versatility. They've got to be able to split you out. And Getsy does a lot of those things. He uses a lot of shifts and motions. We even saw today he went empty a lot where, the backs were split out. And, I could see Roschon being effective in that type of offensive scheme too. Going back to Deontay Foreman, now here's a guy who was just thought about as being more of an inside runner, a thumper, setting the tone, being able to move the chains. But he's done some things in the passing game as well. He's caught some balls. Yeah,
nice screen pass today.
Exactly. So that's a good surprise for the Bears to see that Deontay Foreman has the ability to make catches in the passing game.
Yeah, and in this NFL too, where you've got committees, running back committees all over the league, because I think people have come to understand that. Yeah, sure. it was great to feed the ball to Walter Payton, 30 times a game back in the day. But at the same time, now if you can have multiple guys who, if you give the ball to, you keep them a little fresher throughout the season. Not everybody's got Walter's, stamina and just toughness where you can, get through an NFL season the way he did. So to have a guy, multiple guys in your backfield who you can rely upon to have, 10, 15 touches a game, it just keeps each guy fresher. And then, by the way, if you've got 3 of them, which the Bears seem to have right now, well, now if an injury hits, you can rely and know that you're going to have multiple guys. You mentioned Tom Thayer. He asked Ryan Poles specifically about scouting Roschon Johnson when they went into Texas, and here was Ryan Poles during the game.
He was already on the radar. The way that they speak about the kid when you go into Texas, and our scouts did a great job at the scouting process and evaluation process with him. You could tell that if Bijan wasn't there or he went somewhere else, he would be the guy. So we knew we were getting a good one with Roschon, and I think it speaks volume in today's college atmosphere. When you're not the guy, usually you transfer and just get out. He's stuck with his team and stuck with his teammate, and they have a special relationship. And obviously now he's showing his ability to play at a high level, and we're excited about it.
That was Ryan Poles during the game, during the third quarter, when he sat in with Tom and Jeff Joniak. And they, Roschon Johnson, like, if you haven't figured it out by now, he's somebody who they were delighted to get in the spot that they got him. And, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if by the end of the season, especially because, Khalil Herbert contract status, nobody wants to pay running backs in the NFL these days. So I could very easily see rookie Roschon Johnson kind of making his way to the lead back status when all is said and done, if he continues to play the way he has here in the preseason.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of people in that building, and the common theme that I get when talking about Roschon is he's a football guy.
Mm-hmm.
He said a lot of guys will be sitting at lunch or at one table, talking about other stuff. Roschon is sitting at his own table, looking at his playbook, watching film. Like, he's all ball. He's that serious about it. And
former quarterback too, right? In high school. So but that's the thing is, like, that's how there's just that mentality, right?
Yeah, he just has a mentality. But the thing about it is, you talk about his character, and you listen to what Ryan Poles said about him when they were scouting him at Texas, and he's behind Bijan Robinson, right? Arguably the best running back in college football last year, high draft pick, as we already know. But with today's college landscape, guys are leaving schools left and right if they're not starting, right? NIL, they want better. I'm not starting, I can transfer. Now, here's a guy who could have transferred and been the number one on a lot of college football programs.
A lot of Power 5 teams, like, elite programs.
Yeah, but he stays. Mm-hmm. He stays, right? And backs up Bijan, and when he gets his opportunity, he makes the most of it. So that just shows you about his character and his loyalty, but his character to really just persevere and say, hey, you know what, I'm here. Yes, I'm the number 2, but I still got to approach it every day like I'm the number 1 and make the most of my opportunities. And we've seen that here. Whenever he's been in, he's made something happen.
And ultimately, it might end up being good for the long-term health of his career in the NFL, because he's got less wear and tear than a lot of guys coming out of college. Honestly, there's something that could actually be advantageous for him playing in this league for the longer period of time. And so, long way of getting around to a trade rumor that surfaced earlier this week. Some folks out there saying that the Bears have some interest in possibly trading for Jonathan Taylor, the upset running back in Indianapolis. And I think what we've kind of just laid out here, this is why I can't see that really being grounded in a whole lot of reality.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you give up, draft capital and other things like that when you have a solid, talented running back room like you have right now? Is Jonathan Taylor one of the better backs in the league? Yes. But I think collectively with what we have, I think, we're fine at running back. You don't need to make that splash and give up an opportunity to make your team better in the future with the cash and the draft capital that you have to bring in a guy like Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. And the other aspect is, I know certainly he could get out there this year and prove people that he's fine, but he dealt with a lot of ankle injuries last year. And honestly, the last thing I want to do is pay a running back and also trade, a high, maybe 3rd or 2nd round pick or multiple 2nd and 3rd round picks to get him and then have to pay him. And then like I said, he was not healthy last year when the season concluded. Now, again, this might all be posturing, and the reason why he's not out there and saying, he's dealing with an ankle injury is because he doesn't want to be fined by the team. That's certainly possible, and then he can get out in the field and prove that he's completely healthy. But honestly, that's something where I'd be a little bit concerned with a guy who dealt with an ankle injury. I don't want to pay a whole lot of money for him at the position where, unfortunately, the league just doesn't want to. We talked about it, a couple weeks ago. It's just the reality of the league. There's so many talented guys. There's so many Roshan Johnsons out there who you can plug in and play and watch them be productive. Why would you want to, pay and devote a lot of salary cap space to that guy?
Yeah, like you said it well. It doesn't make sense when you can have a collection of good backs, good talented young backs to overpay or to give away draft capital for one back. I mean, that's the trend. As a former, fullback and been around a lot of great running backs.
Yeah, as a fullback, you're probably like, okay, all the tailbacks out there, calm down. You want to talk about fighting for every last dollar.
Right.
Try being a fullback, huh?
Exactly. No, but I mean, it's you can see why it's trending that way, just because like there's so many injuries and like you mentioned, wear and tear on the backs. I mean, like you said, I don't know how many carries total Bijan Robinson had at Texas, but Roshan, like you said, he did benefit from that because he didn't get a lot of those carries. So now, he's got a lot of tread left on the tire, so to speak, here in the NFL. So that's what the guys are like. The NFL, they're looking to stay younger. They want younger guys. They want younger backs, and they're fine with having a bunch of good backs that are talented and continuing to develop, backs who may not be on the 53-man roster. They'll keep some backs on the practice squad and develop those guys.
That is the voice of longtime NFL veteran Jason McKee. I'm Jeff Meller. We're hanging out with you till 7 o'clock on the post-game show here on ESPN 1000, the ESPN Chicago app. Pet, the designer, as I mentioned, he'll be along with us during the regular season, but he filled in for Yurko today on the post-game show, so he is missing tonight, but he'll be back with us when the Bears and Packers square off in the season opener. 312-332-3776 if you want to jump on in before we wrap things up. All right, so how about a player at a position who you might consider giving up some trade capital for? We'll talk about a game breaker, Chris Jones, coming up next.
ESPN Chicago.
The biggest pro football contests in Las Vegas is back again for its 5th year with $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Only at Circa Sports. Enter in Vegas, play from anywhere with 2 ways to win and no rake. Play the Million Pro Football Contest with quarterly payouts and 100% payback. Pick a winner with the Survivor Contest. Select one team each week with no point spread. Get your share of $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Visit circasports.com for details.
Hey guys, it's Sylvie. I love summer, my favorite time of year, but it all ends when you open up that energy bill and the pain. I've seen it before, but I got to tell you, I just opened up my ComEd bill and my energy bills went down when everybody else's went up. I first bought new windows for my kids' room, for my master bedroom, for the kitchen, and then I bought new windows for my family room. And I've seen the savings firsthand. And right now, you get 50% off any style window, including bows, bays, double hung, and sliders. Plus, put 0% down, 0 payments, 0% interest for 24 months. So maintain your chill, lower your energy bill. Act now. Save money all the way around by calling my friends at Window Nation at 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Do what I did. Go with the best customer service, and let them know that Sylvie sent you.
Hey, it's Adam Abdallah. After a long, grueling day of talking sports and other nonsense, there's nothing that helps me and my stomach like a stop at Fry the Coop. We're talking about the best chicken sandwiches this side of the Mississippi. I'd go further like this side of Hawaii, but they're just being modest. My favorite is the spicy honey butter chicken sandwich. I also go with the Chicago hot chicken sandwich and their chicken and waffles. It's not just the sandwiches that keep me coming back. It's the feeling of happiness and the beef fat fries. I don't know how they do it, but they even make this cynical dude happy. Fry the Coop.
If your roof isn't standing up to the elements like it used to, visit totalroofingandconstruction.com. If your windows are letting in too much wind, totalroofingandconstruction.com. If you have a project that needs more than a few hours on the weekend, totalroofingandconstruction.com. I'm Eric S., and our message is simple. We do whatever exterior projects you need done. Professional installation, top materials, and excellent communication throughout the process. We want your complete and total satisfaction. totalroofingandconstruction.com.
The Peggy and Dion Show is having our Fantasy Football League, and it's for the women fans only. Our friends at Advantage Acura invite you to sign up now for the draft on August 31st at 7 p.m. Register now at ESPNChicagoContest.com. Illinois residents only. Brought to you by Advantage Acura.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Jeff Meller, Jason McKee back on the ESPN Chicago app talking Bears with you. All right, so, a lot of rumors, not just the Jonathan Taylor one, but the Chris Jones one that all of a sudden seems to be gaining a little bit of momentum. Of course, Ryan Poles spent quite a deal of time in Kansas City, so he knows Chris Jones very well. And I think even your casual fan has a pretty good idea about who Chris Jones is. And honestly, if it wasn't for Aaron Donald, I think Chris Jones might be that much more well-known across the league because he would be, I think, be considered hands down the best defensive tackle, the best three technique in the league if it wasn't for Aaron Donald. Ryan Poles, when he joined Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer during the third quarter, they asked him about all the trade rumors that were circulating, and here was Ryan Poles' response.
You're going to have patience and just go along for the ride. It's crazy how much my phone goes off about things that haven't even happened, or I've already said no, and people are saying yes, and it's crazy. So, part of the deal.
All right, part of the deal, J-Mac, and Chris Jones. Now, he is somebody who I think is a lot more viable if you wanted to have the conversation. What's realistic? Would he fit the Bears? I think Chris Jones fits the Bears much more than someone like Jonathan Taylor does. And again, Ryan Poles knows him well. He had 15 and a half sacks last year. He's done that before in a season too, where he had 15 and a half sacks back in 2018. Nevertheless, he's always good for close to 9 sacks a year from the interior there, which obviously is if you can get pressure from that spot, it's firsthand what Tommy Harris can do to a for a defense. So Chris Jones, he wants to get paid. He wants to be paid somewhere in the vicinity of what Aaron Donald is getting. And so he's entering what will be his age 29 season. What's your thoughts on hearing those rumors circulating and just what he would be like on the Bears roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know the validity of the trade reports and stuff like that. In terms of, is Ryan Poles really entertaining it? Just like he didn't give us a real answer.
We don't expect him. He's not.
He didn't.
I'd love to land him.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of his productivity in this league, right? You could, and the one thing is, this league, you got to get to the quarterback. It's a passing league. You got to get pressure on that quarterback, and he's a guy that's proven he can do so. And just imagine having him and Yannick on the same defensive line, and then you can have
Marcus Walker.
You got Walker, and then you're rotating the young guys, Dexter and Pickens. I mean, that's a good front. And you look at teams like the 49ers that has a lot of defensive linemen that are really good. Buffalo has a good defensive front. I mean, these are all teams that are almost perennial playoff teams. But the one thing they do is they get to the quarterback. So, do we have the ability to land? To land Jones? Yeah, we do. And, like Poles, we know he's not going to leave no stone unturned. He's going to examine every option in terms of making this team better. Will Jones make this team better? 100%.
Yeah, and that's undeniable. I don't know if the Bears would really have the appetite to give up a first-round pick for Chris Jones. But again, you could see a team like Kansas City looking at the Bears who are still, coming off of last year and saying, you know what, if we can get a couple of seconds, there's a good chance that second, I could see why the Kansas City would be like, it could be pretty high. Now, I don't necessarily I think the Bears are in good position to kind of add a significant win total to their roster next year. So I'd be cool with that. But if they go ahead and actually make a trade for Chris Jones, they're going to have to pay him handsomely.
Yes.
That's going to eat up a lot of your cap space. My conclusion that I would be drawing from this is you're really expediting the timeline of where you want to, all of a sudden the conversation about the Bears think they're your true contenders in the NFC North this year. Because I don't think you go out and make that move unless you think you can win this division, right? But that also tells me that they truly are believers in Justin Fields. It's almost like when the Bears went out and traded for Khalil Mack when they had Mitch Trubisky under center, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think if you go out and you make the trade for Chris Jones, you're sending a signal that, hey, we think Justin Fields is truly the guy here.
Yeah, you're sending the message, hey, we want to win now.
Yeah.
And we're willing to, to pay for it, to bring in, players that can benefit us to win now. So it'd be interesting to see how this transpires. I'd be thrilled to have him in a Bears uniform. I know it'd be costly, but I think he definitely upgrades your defense instantaneously, just like Yannick did when you signed him.
Man, just the idea of having Jones and
man.
Yannick
Can you
Ngakoue
imagine?
rushing the passer. I mean, now you're getting a little crazy. Now, I did hear Pat bring up on the post game with Peggy, we talked about Trevis Gipson seeking a trade. Could there be a match here where, okay, you give up a second rounder, maybe a third rounder in Trevis Gipson, and now are you starting to intrigue Kansas City a little bit where now if he's not going, if you're Kansas City and you can't pay Chris Jones because you've already got Mahomes, Kelsey, you've paid, your offensive lineman as well. Obviously, everything surrounds Patrick Mahomes. All right, well, could that entice them a little bit? Is that something where maybe you pique their interest?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. And you just, hey, you know what? We know we can't keep him, so let's get what we can for him. Let's get a haul. If we can get, like you mentioned, you get 2 draft picks and a player who can, who's shown you he can still get to the quarterback. I think it'd be to their benefit.
Yeah, no, I mean, at a certain point, if you're Kansas City and you're not willing to pay Chris Jones, I think you're going to have to, figure out who's going to give you the most. And maybe that's too where Ryan Poles having a working relationship with a lot of people in the Kansas City front office. It could be, a little bit where it's something that's, in their favor. So I don't know. It's intriguing to think about. And it would certainly, spin the timeline forward about this season in a dramatic fashion.
Yeah, and nobody knows Jones like Poles. He was there. He's, he knows this guy. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I would definitely welcome it because when you talk about pairing him, Yannick, and you just talked about DeMarcus Walker, I mean, that's a solid front. And how many sacks did we have last year? I think it was 20.
Not enough.
20 total sacks. This man had 15 by himself. Like, come on now.
Again, from that interior defensive line spot, which is just crazy. So, I don't think it would send Bears fans in as much of a fervor as they were when Khalil Mack, when Ryan Pace made the trade for Khalil Mack. But it's pretty close. There's not too many guys who are as disruptive on, amongst the front seven in football as Chris Jones. Like I said, if you take away Aaron Donald, who's just basically one of the best defensive players to ever play the game, Chris Jones is probably, am I missing someone? Who's better? Who's a better pass rusher from the interior than?
Yeah, and the key word you said, being a disruptor.
Yeah.
You got to be disruptive in this defense. Like, that's the expectation. And, no disrespect to Justin Jones and Andrew Billings. Andrew Billings is more of a run stuffer. And he's shown that. I like Andrew Billings a lot. But to be able to have a change of pace and, to have Jones in there, getting after the quarterback, like you said, getting that interior rush. And then you have edge pressure by Walker and Yannick Ngakoue, man. That's a match made in heaven right there.
It is. Yeah. It's all of a sudden because everything's, I think a lot of Bears fans are watching the offense and they're thinking, okay, the offense is going to have to be the unit that kind of leads this team if they're going to become, one of the better playoff teams in the league. But if you drop in a perennial Pro Bowler, an All-Pro like Chris Jones, all of a sudden it kind of changes the dynamic of the entire team. That's really I think everybody looks at the secondary and you're like, wow, there's a lot of talent in the secondary for the Bears. If you just add a little bit more pressure and everybody got, Yannick Ngakoue was somebody we kind of I think everybody was kind of waiting for, you knew it was coming. Ryan Poles talked about how they had stuff imminent. We were all waiting for that final piece to be, landed. And sure enough, when we got the news, it wasn't a big surprise. If you add another element to this defense, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this defense might be the better unit all of a sudden.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely puts you in a conversation of legitimately contending for the NFC North because you have a guy who can be a game changer.
That is Jason McKee. I'm Jeff Meller. You talked to Tyreek Stevenson, who had a big play earlier in the first quarter of today's game.
Here's the snap and a throw to the left side, and Stevenson in his hands turns around at the last second to intercept Kyle Allen at the 16, defending Gabriel Davis. He turned around like Velcro was sitting there right in his breadbasket.
I love hearing Joni. I call it like Velcro because there were a couple earlier in the preseason that Tyreek Stevenson didn't squeeze his hands on. It was good to see him. Now, that was a great acrobatic catch that he made along the sidelines, getting his feet down, showing that he's got the ability to make a play on the ball.
Yeah, and during his press conference this week, he said the main thing that he wanted to focus on was being able to come back and make a play after a mistake. But he also said showing that he can catch. You saw the missed opportunity in terms of not catching that interception last week in the Indy game, and he comes back and makes a great play today after drawing a penalty, early on, to be able to forget that, come back and be in great position, but not only be in great position to get the takeaway, but have the awareness to keep your feet in bounds so it counts. Like, I'm really high on Tyreek Stevenson, and Coach Matt Eberflus talked about him in terms of the reason why he's here is because he's a tackler, he's a sound tackler, but he's been impressing me more and more with his ability to cover. And as a young rookie, you expect the growing pains in terms of pass interference, but like we said, he's the type of player that we've seen now that if he makes a mistake, he comes back and makes a play. Yeah, no, he's certainly yes, he's been flagged, a few times in the 3 preseason games so far. But to see him have one of those takeaways, right? It's so important in the NFL nowadays because everything we've talked about, it's slanted towards the offense to have success. And honestly, for defenses, as much as you want to stop them, the truth is that making takeaways is paramount in this league because it's hard to stop a team from going down the field and getting points. The easiest way to do it is to create some takeaways. Yeah, I mean, defensive now, you want to bend but don't break. Yes. The offense is going to get their yards. Like you said, the game is set up for offense. It's so hard to cover receivers in this league because you can't touch them. Yep. Pass interference is a spot foul. So it's real touchy. It's a lot of calls. The officials, they're giving the receiver the benefit of the doubt. They're throwing more flags now. But if you can bend and not break and the offense may drive the ball downfield, but if you don't break in the red zone and you come away with a takeaway, that's heartbreaking to an offense. I mean, to have a 9-10 play drive and not come away with any points. I mean, that's tough. That's tough to overcome. And when you have guys like a Tyreek Stevenson, embodying the hits principle, getting those takeaways, it's a good thing. It's good to see young guys making plays. Yeah, and you talked to Tyreek Stevenson after the game too, and I could hear it on the radio. Like you could hear the confidence in him. He's a confident young man, but you need that at that position. Yeah, he's definitely confident. I like the fact that he's confident in his ability, but he doesn't shy away from admitting that, hey, I still have a lot to work on. I'm not there yet. I asked him today, I say, do you think the game is slowing down? And he said somewhat, but I think because he has an understanding that this is only preseason, it's going to continue to get faster. When I start going up against, a lot more of these starting wide receivers, he knows that there's things that he needs to work on, but he knows that he has the ability to make plays in this league. That's Jason McKee. I'm Jeff Meller. We're taking your calls up till about 7 o'clock here on the post-game show, 312-332-3776. A couple things I want to play for you when we come back. Tom Thayer talked about still wanting to see more from Justin Fields, and also have the Bears found a new kick returner. Talk about it next here on the post-game show on ESPN Chicago.
ESPN Chicago.
You've waited all year and the time has finally arrived. Yes, college football is back. And so are the traditions, the tailgates, and the great offers from DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you're ready. Kick off the season with DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code WMVP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Only at DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook with code WMVP. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and older, Illinois only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
If you've been involved in an accident, yeah, you're going to have questions. You're going to have bills, and you're going to have medical issues. But you will also have me. I'm attorney Tony Ivoni. Visit me at calltony.com or call 708-400-0000. You don't have to struggle alone against the insurance company. I'm here to fight for you. Visit calltony.com or call me at 708-4-million. because you deserve better.
Parent Petroleum, its customers, and the Parent Petroleum Foundation work together to support local charities in an effort to give back to the community. During their annual Pumpathon event, with every gallon of gas purchased in the month of August, fuel retailers donate a portion of their sales to 4 great charities: Folds of Honor, Living Well Cancer Resource Center, Casa Kane County, and the Chicago Blackhawks Foundation. Be on the lookout for Pumpathon signage at a participating gas station near you. Learn more at parentpetroleum.com.
Sure, the starters may only play a drive, but preseason is still football, and man, have we missed it. And if you're searching for some late-round fantasy flyers, there's no better research than watching every play at Twin Peaks. Have the first overall pick? Make sure you select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more info.
Golf's biggest party is back. Live Golf returns to Chicago at Rich Harvest Farm September 22nd through 24th. Many of the sport's biggest names, including Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Cam Smith, will battle in Live Golf's unique high-stakes league. And don't miss the post-round performances by 2 Grammy Award-winning artists, the legendary Nelly on Friday and the incredible Tiesto on Saturday. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at livegolf.com. That's livegolf.com.
A new bathroom. It has to be a showpiece. You need professionals. Prestige Kitchen and Bath is where you should go. The personal designers at Prestige will listen to your ideas and concerns and then put their creativity to work on a detailed design estimate. Their showroom has the most exciting, up-to-date products to work with within your budget. Right now, remodel with Prestige Kitchen and Bath and get a free shower faucet ensemble of $1,500 value. Give your bath some prestige. Start now at prestigekitchenbath.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Postgame continues now on the new home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago. Here are your hosts, Jason McKee, Jeff Meller, and Pat the Designer.
Jeff Meller, Jason McKee, back on the ESPN Chicago app, hanging out with you for a few more minutes, talking about the Bears wrapping up the preseason, losing the final game 24-21 at Soldier Field against the Bills. But of course, Justin Fields left a little bit to be desired. He took a hit by Ed Oliver on the that drive where they ended up scoring a touchdown, but he left the game, not due to injury, but Matt Eberflus said that he had reached his snap counts. We'll see. I don't know if it was the snap count or if it was just the fact that they were dealing with so many injuries on the offensive line that they did not want to expose him to any more hits. I think that was probably the most likely scenario. But again, I would have liked to have seen him complete that drive with a touchdown, but Tyson Bagent went in and he concluded it with the touchdown run for himself. So good for the Bears offense there. As we went to break, though, J-Mac, I mentioned that, did the Bears find their new kick returner?
Straight ahead to the 10, running right to the 15, to the 20 with a little grass at the 25, runs away from the tackler at the 40, to midfield, tripped up. Had Bass to beat, but he was tripped up by the hard-charging defender that was not giving up, and that saved the day for the Buffalo Bills. Kyron Brown, the tackle.
Tyler Scott rips off a 55-yard kickoff return, and I feel like that, that could have sealed the fate. I don't know what Velus Jones is. I think he's going to end up making the roster, but I think Scott definitely is going to give the Bears something to think about in terms of kick returners.
Yeah, and we know Tyler Scott, yes, everybody talks about his speed, but he has some toughness. Like, he really, returning that ball, he hit it up in there. Like, he wasn't afraid to really hit it up in there, and that's what you want from returner. Like, he has the ability, one, you got to secure the catch. He did it on punt and kickoff return very well today. A lot of wind. Wind was swirling down there. He made those. He got the ball first, which is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But then he showed you the speed and the power and the courage to really hit that return up there on kickoff return. So very exciting. I think he could possibly be your kick returner. He's going to bring a lot of excitement because if he gets the crease, he's gone. He can change the game. And we've seen what happens when you change the game in terms of special teams. I played with the greatest of all time. And am I saying that, he's Devin Hester? By no means, not even close. But if you have a returner that has the ability to change the game in terms of setting you up offensively with good field position, but also maybe taking it the distance and putting points on the board, and that goes well for your offense.
And it's critical because obviously Dante Pettis was placed on injured reserve earlier this week, so he's not going to be an option for the Bears to start the season. Velus Jones Jr., I think, he was inactive again today. Yeah. He was inactive last week. But just the way I've heard Ryan Poles talk about Velus Jones Jr., I feel like they want him on this roster at least for another season. They're not. I could be wrong, and it wouldn't be completely surprising, but I don't know. Do you get the same feeling?
Yeah, I get the same feeling just from, like you said, the way Poles talks about him. But I get the same sense in terms of the way that Richard Hightower, their special team coach, talks about him as well. And he's been Hightower's been asked that question a lot in terms of the muff punt that we saw Velus have in preseason game 1. He says, that's coaching. It's just making the right decision. And I think he feels that, hey, players are going to make mistakes. But I think that they like the fact that even though he had that mishap in preseason game 1 during the joint practices out in Indy, and I was at that practice, Velus had a very good day, coming back off of that. He had a very good day. Hit the first day of joint practice, made a lot of plays at receiver.
Yeah.
And then obviously he was hurt after that, and we haven't seen him since. So is he a guy that has the ability to make plays when the ball's in his hand? Yes. But the one thing that we got to be aware of and that we've seen here as Bears fans and as analysts is he's got to get the ball in his hands. He's got to make the right decisions in the return game, and he's got to be more consistent as a receiver in terms of the passing game.
I will be curious when the season gets going. Will he be back there, if he's healthy for the inactive in game 1? Will he be back there on punts? I could see him, it all always depends, too, on who are the game day actives for the wide receiver position, right? Because as we're talking about, like oftentimes you usually have like 5 active receivers, right? Like, so sometimes you might see a team go with 6. It depends on the special teams, how it breaks down. But if they're going to go with 5, it's likely going to be between Tyler Scott and Velus Jones Jr. for that final spot, right? Because DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, and I think EQ St. Brown are going to more times than not going to be 4 active wide receivers.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the thing too. When you look at Velus, right, it's if you're one of those lower end receivers, right, contributing on special teams, you've got to contribute on another phase. And today I saw Tyler Scott make a tackle, on punt. And there's a thing right there. He's showing Hightower that I can go down and make tackles. Yep. I'm fast enough. I can get downfield, but I'm not afraid to stick my nose in there and make a tackle. So that's something that went well for Tyler Scott. He had a great day on special teams today.
Yeah, no, there's stuff. And the truth is, like, they're probably not, aside from injury, but like Velus, I feel like is better on kick returns. The punts, obviously, I think have been his kryptonite. And if anything, it's more the directional punts, right? Like that's where he seems to have an issue, like where he gets a little bit indecisive when he's on the move. Not so bad when they're kicked directly to him, but it's the directional punting where it seems to have been problematic for him. And I think that goes to show that's not something he did in college often. He was more of a kick returner, not so much a punt returner. And so Tyler Scott showing you that he's capable of handling punts a little bit today was, like you said, a good sign. So even though I think Velus Jones will make the roster, I think he's going to have to fight in practice to be active on game days.
Yeah, 100%. It's a thing too where Velus, you want to make a play. You're a playmaker. You want to make a play, but you got to be smart. You've got to know when to get away from that ball, and you got to know when to field that ball and really, showcase your talents to make a play.
How about any last thoughts on? We got to see Tremaine Edmonds finally active. He looked good with the orange sleeve, although I think the adrenaline was going a little bit. He over pursued. Early in the game, I'm trying to remember. I had a note here somewhere. I think maybe James Cook or someone.
James Cook, who's a shifty back.
He is James Delvin's brother.
Yeah, he made Tremaine miss in that little phone booth right there.
Yes.
But to Tremaine's credit, this is his first action.
Yes,
this is his first opportunity.
It was good for him to get out there before the regular season.
Yeah, it was. I'm excited to see him, man. He's got that length that Coach Matt Eberflus talks about. He can affect passing windows, and he's been productive every year he's been in the league.
So, all right, that's about it for us. Any final things you want to talk? You know what? I wanted to play before we wrap things up here. Tom Thayer on the broadcast after the game talked about what he wanted to see from Justin Fields going forward here.
As much as I love the athleticism of Justin Fields, I still have some question marks, and I need to see significant improvement
in a really quick ascent. I don't think you have the luxury of going to the NFL and people want to talk about, oh, we break this down into 4 quarters. No, you don't. Every game is important to win. And when you start off with a divisional opponent at home at a 3:25 nationally televised game, Jeff, you got to be at your best almost week 1 of the regular season.
So interesting, Tom saying that, listen, Justin Fields, we know what he's capable of. He's got those, dynamic splash plays in him, but he needs to see more quickly because before we know it, the regular season opener is going to be here against the Packers.
Yeah, like I said, we've only got an appetizer with Justin Fields in preseason, 20 plays. That's all we've seen. And there's been a lot said about the development and him being second year in the system, him having more of a grasp on this offense and him calling his own plays at training camp, and then you don't get to see it. So it makes you wonder, how much development is there? And in a couple of weeks, that'll be answered. I mean, week 1, Green Bay, it's live, it's go time.
And the truth is, let's not kid ourselves, because everything's going to be on display against the other guy on the other side of the ball.
What about the Lambeau Field? And Kevin, you asked me about Jordan Love. And the best part about this is he settled into this game just like he has the first 2 preseason games.
Good point. First and goal to the end zone. Caught by Watson. He beats the starting quarterback, Jackson.
So as the Bears were playing the Bills today on CBS, you hear Kevin Harlan call Jordan Love throwing a back shoulder fade to Christian Watson for a touchdown. So it's going to get real really quickly in the opener when the Bears host the Packers, because Jordan Love, if he looks good, all the pressure is going to be on Justin Fields as well.
You cannot lose opening day to the Packers. You can't do it. You can't do it. Must win here in a few weeks.
I kind of feel like that because listen, it's not really a must win, but it's going to feel like it because, a lot of the narrative is going to be set. It's hard enough to play in this league. You can tell folks about it, Jason. It's hard enough to play in this league without all the noise, right? But if the Bears don't win against the Packers and Jordan Love looks good, it's going to be nauseating to hear what we're going to have to hear in that first week if they don't win that game.
It's going to be tough. And when you're hosting a home division game, it's a must win. Like, you got to hold serve.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't win this game against Green Bay, and then you got to go up to Lambeau, tough place to play, regardless of who's at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard for you to win this division.
Yeah, and the last thing you want to do is open the season and put yourself behind the 8 ball with a divisional loss. So,
yes.
You only get 6 of them nowadays, that they're reduced to 4. So every single one is critical. All right, folks, that is going to about do it for us here today on the post-game show on the ESPN Chicago app. We will be back at the beginning of the season when, as we said, the Bears will be taking on the Packers at home. Soldier Field. J-Mac will be on the sidelines with Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, of course. Your brand new home for the Bears games on the Bears Radio Network. We are ESPN 1000. Want to say thanks to Kevin Zepak, Kendra Smith, and Erica Strowski as well. Of course, Pat, the designer, will be back. Any final words, J-Mac?
Bear down. Let's go.
Bear
Week
down.
1.
Cannot wait. It will be here before you know it. September 10th, the Bears host the Packers at Soldier Field, 3:25 kick. We will be up after the post-game show wraps up with Peggy and Yurko, so make sure you keep us locked on ESPN 1000 for all your Bears coverage. Thank you, J-Mac. Thanks to Pat, the designer, who'll be back next time with us. Thanks again to all the production crew as well. Thanks to Erica Strowski, who is the executive producer of the Bears Radio on ESPN 1000. We will talk to you again when the Bears and the Packers get things started for real on your home of the Bears Radio Network, ESPN 1000.
ESPN Chicago.